Welcome, dear listeners. I'm Jonathan Carlin.
And I'm Benjamin Carlin.
And we invite you to join us through the Griffin door, your one-way ticket to the enchanting world of Harry Potter. So grab your wands and dust off your broomsticks and join us as we unlock the dark corridors inside Order of the Phoenix, Chapter 5, The Order of the Phoenix.
The title chapter.
The title chapter. So early.
So early indeed.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're here. Is this a trend, or is there always a title chapter for every book?
I don't know if there is in Sorcerer's Stone.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
but there is Chamber of Secrets. I don't know if there is in Prisoner of Azkaban.
Oh, yeah, that would be a weird one.
Yeah, but there definitely is Goblet of Fire. There's definitely Order of the Phoenix. There the Half-Blood Prince?
I think there's the Half-Blood Prince.
Okay.
I mean, it's funny we don't know.
Yeah, I know. And then
the Deathly Hallows, I feel like, could be the Tale of the Three Brothers.
Tale of the Three Brothers. Yeah. Okay. So maybe not every time.
Maybe not every time.
But this time it is.
It makes this today's episode all the more glorious.
It does.
Yeah.
It does. Although I have to say, don't know if I can say the same about the chapter art, Ben.
Oh, goodness gracious. Well, I don't know about you, Jay, but I personally did take the time to go through and draw a cape onto onto young Harold James Potter here, because he's in such a position that it looks like he's just about to take flight.
Apparently we go on for a bit at the beginning. We just posted a video yesterday, at least as of recording this, about where we did the first open book quiz on the main channel.
Yes.
And a bunch of the comments were, I guess the cold open is us complaining about the capes and the chapter art and the cover art and stuff like that.
Okay.
And a bunch of the comments were just like, y'all getting really stuck on this cape. Like, cape just fastens around. You're like, robes fasten around your neck. I've always just assumed it was the robes flapping in the breeze. To which I was like, excuse me, robes have sleeves. Right?
Oh, yes.
Robes.
I think robes have sleeves.
Robes have sleeves.
Right?
Right?
That must be how it works.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. Right. Robes have sleeves.
Yes.
Exactly.
That's my thought.
That's my thought too.
Well, hopefully we didn't make people angry. I just thought it was a silly thing.
I agree. Yeah. I agree. Now I feel like we're in another weird, like, broomstick shouldn't have footrests situation here where it's like, do we not know what robes are? Because I'm pretty sure robes have sleeves, y'all.
This would be so funny. I feel like what's happened is that, like, we're now into such granular details of the story that probably so rarely is anybody actively in any important manner discussing.
This is what people come here for.
No,
all right. Yeah,
I agree.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like, I think it's very funny that it's like clearly everybody who's listening right now loves all of this. Yeah. That's the point. But now we're finding ways to disagree with each other in, like, the most microscopic details.
Like, hey, is it a cape or is it a cloak? I mean, if it was just a cloak, I guess a cloak could just be fastened around your neck, right? Maybe Quoth's cloak. You know, when does that like flap in the breeze?
It seems like he oftentimes says the exact. This is a name of the wind. He cut quite a figure. In his new robes.
Yeah.
No, does he say robes or does he say something different?
Because he has a cloak.
Oh,
with
a
tiny
cloak.
Pockets.
Cloak. Yes, the cloak of no particular color.
Right.
But not an invisibility cloak.
Right.
Anyway, we're so in the weeds about this.
We are so in the weeds.
What we should have done was just breeze right past it. And I had no idea about these comments, and I literally put added a cape. Like I was just being whimsy.
Added a cape.
Anyway, let's move on to talk about other details of the chapter.
Let's move on, because let me tell you what, Ben. It's not that it's like bad chapter art per se. It's, whatever. But like for the title chapter and for a title like The Order of the Phoenix, which you're going to find out is this like elite defense secret society, it doesn't really capture that to me.
There's a chance that, you've got like a slightly awkward depiction. Is it Sirius? Is that who this other person is?
I'm pretty sure that's supposed to be Sirius.
Okay.
And this is what you're seeing is Sirius and Harry dodge out of Fred and George's magicking of the food onto the table.
Yeah. That's exactly it. So that was the other thing I described here, because there is what looks like a giant cauldron full of something. And this is stew.
Right. Yeah. That's the other thing. When you see a cauldron full of stuff in Harry Potter, you'd like to think it's potion.
Yeah, but it says this is stew, not
This
potion.
is soup.
Yeah. And then you've got your breadboard flying through there, the knife that's standing up on end that's gone in there. And this is all inside of a rare piece of magic gone askew from Fred and George, who I feel like otherwise are always at like, they're always involved in antics and silliness, but this seems like a rare piece of like ineptitude on their part.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I honestly, I don't even feel like it's their fault. I feel like they had it, and then Molly starts yelling at them, and that's what makes them mess up.
Oh, I see. I see. Yeah. That could be
and then
that.
it's like a self-fulfilling prophecy where it's like the thing she's yelling about like happens because she's yelling about it.
Right.
Yeah.
That's a good point. It's a good point. The other thing I think that's really important to note about this chapter art, because this was a detail that really like, chuffed my gums or something. I don't know.
Chuffed is like a good thing, I think.
Oh.
Yeah.
Anti-chuffed my gums.
Anti-chuffed. That's like one of those British words. Like as an American, you're like, I feel really chuffed about that. You're like, yeah, I'm pretty upset too. And you'd be like, no, I said I'm like, oh, I was really chuffed about that.
Yeah.
Like, I was very happy about it.
Well,
I think.
Hopefully.
We don't know what chuffed means.
Anyway, we get a description of all of the various things that are flying through the air in this particular scene. And it says, Fred and George had bewitched a large cauldron of stew, an iron flagon of butterbeer, and a heavy wooden breadboard, complete with knife. And we get the breadboard, we get the stew, we get the knife. Where's the flagon?
Where's the flagon, man? I want to say the flagon crashes on the ground at some point. So maybe it's already smashed off page.
Okay. Well,
off illustration.
Off illustration. It's like, and that is so the correct way to describe a picture in Harry Potter. It's like somewhere else in the image it exists.
It does exist, absolutely.
Just because we can't see it doesn't mean it's not there.
You have to imagine there's like an ornate frame around this image, and it like happened a little to the side.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
like Phineas Nigella sniggering from behind the frame.
Right.
Exactly. Yeah. Kind of like that. Anyway, I'm sure we'll get to this scene eventually.
We will. It's like 2 pages in.
Yeah, it's like 2 pages in. There you go. Apparently, it's the most exciting thing that happened in this chapter. To put as the chapter art, not like an impressive. I mean, there was already the group shot at the bottom of the stairs.
Yeah,
but like, I still imagine this being like the order members lined up at the table, not telling Harry stuff that happens in the next chapter, but like a picture of the order.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, right. Anything more important than the one piece of chaos inside of the chapter.
This is giving first task energy, where Harry's fighting a dragon, but the chapter art is him summoning a dictionary.
Yeah. You're so right. God, we need to do a video just going through and ranking
all the chapter art.
All the chapter arts. You know what else is funny, and I'm going to continue to prolong us not entering the first sentence of the chapter,
which isn't long.
Which isn't long. No. Is I received this email that is like supposed to be like a newsletter for people who make podcasts, and the headline of yesterday's email was, listeners really like it when the episodes are less than 1 hour long and when the hosts immediately get into the meat of what they're talking about. They don't want any playful banter at the beginning. And I was like, wow, we are doing everything wrong by the books.
Oh, our playful banter is about the content.
It's about the content. Yeah,
I do know what they mean, though. I know what they're talking about, because there is often like when I used to listen to my trading, now I'm doing the exact thing. So just be aware of that. I used to listen to a Pokemon trading card game podcast.
Okay.
Because I play the game and I love it. But what I wanted to hear them talk about was the card game, because they're like both like experts. But at the beginning, there's like an inevitable 5 to 10 minute, like, how you doing, man? How's life? And it's just like, you know what? I don't know if like, can we just get to it?
I see.
Yeah.
Well, that's what we have popcorn culture for. So if you want to listen to us just like ramble on forever about our lives, then that's a different podcast.
Yeah. So I think I know what they're getting at, but we're still talking about Harry Potter as far as I can tell.
Yeah.
And a little bit of Name of the Wind. Yeah.
That's an occupational hazard.
That's an occupational. You're around as long enough. You're going to hear about it. Okay.
That's true. Don't ask us a question on tour, or do. And we'll completely change gears.
It's honestly, it's not even me in bed. It's the team. They're like, stop. It's not that they don't want to talk about it. It's that we can't let them.
Exactly. Anyway, the first sentence is really good for our classic opener here.
And then the dragons arrived.
So as a reminder, the last sentence of chapter 4 was, "Hello, Harry," he said grimly. "I see you've met my mother." And that's Sirius referring to the portrait of his mother at number 12 Grimmauld Place. And this is kind of like one of those details that we're so well accustomed to, that this is the house of the most ancient and noble house of Black. like we know that's exactly where he is. But this is Harry kind of learning for the very first moment that this is Sirius's childhood home.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yes. It
Yep.
is.
So the dragons arrived.
Yeah. So just like whatever you were going to say, they were ready. They were just like sitting on the starting line, like, wait for it. We're here.
We're here. Yeah. Good.
All right.
It's
So,
good.
the dragons arrived. There they are.
Yes.
And then Sirius reveals, my dear old mom, we've been trying to get her down for a month, but we think she put a permanent sticking charm on the back of the canvas.
Yeah. So this is kind of it's an interesting thing that they're going to bring up a few times. There's the like tapestry as well, has this permanent sticking charm. And then eventually Harry will even go into Sirius's room where there's like Muggle photos, like pinups, I think, and like diagrams of like motorcycles that he has like also permanently sticking charmed to the walls.
Yeah.
And
do you think that because Sirius doesn't seem to know for sure that that's what this is?
That was exactly what I was going to say. I think it's Creature actually who's doing this.
Oh.
I think this is Creature magic, because at some point in time when he's talking about the tapestry, he is like, Creature won't let them take it. Like won't, and so I think that this is Creature literally enacting his own brand of house elf magic. And that's the reason why these otherwise highly trained wizards can't undo a permanent sticking charm, especially when Sirius himself has applied this exact spell to other things in his room in the same house.
Right. Okay, that does make sense, because the two things that we know are the tapestry and the portrait of Mrs. Black.
Exactly.
Which seem like the most important things to him. I was going to say, because like Sirius doesn't know about it, but clearly he did the same thing to his room. So maybe like after he left to go live with the Potters or whatever, his parents tried to take the stuff off of his room and were like, couldn't do it. And then after the fact, they were like, well, if that's how he's going to be, I'm going to do this.
It's a little like tit for tat.
It's like a little tit for tat. Like not thinking he'll ever be back, but I guess, the situation has arisen.
Right.
So they've had the last laugh.
Yes, exactly.
Or the last scream, as it were.
But
I like the idea that it's Creature even almost better.
Yeah, I think it would fit well. And Creature like lives through the end of the series. So like the fact that they're never able to get it off at any point in time would just be like Creature's magic has never like let it go.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
So a detail I don't think I've ever picked up on before about the house, the most noble house of Black, is that the kitchen and where they're eating is in the basement.
Yeah, right. You're right. It is kind of weird because I go down there and it's like the only thing illuminating the space at all is like the fireplace.
Yeah. Even right here, it's like when they're talking about the portrait, he says, "Let's get downstairs quick before they all wake up again." And I was like, the portrait's up. So I thought the portrait was in the landing. Go downstairs where?
Right. Yeah. I mean, I suppose that there could be like a little bit of like the like if this is a former nobleman's house. Then, which I mean, by their own assertion, it is.
Yeah.
The ancient and the noble and most ancient house of Black or whatever. But I suppose at least back in ye old days, it would have been the case that you would have like a downstairs area where like the house staff would work.
I mean, I would agree with you, except that we know for sure they've had a house elf
the whole time. You're right. Yeah. That's a very good point. Although the kitchens at Hogwarts
are also in the basement.
They are. They're like underneath. So like
okay.
I wonder
that's where he cooks or they cook.
Well, and it seems like while they're at the Order, Molly is doing all of the food prep at least. Well, and I think a little bit like with the other members, like kind of joining in with various tasks and stuff like that. But so like I wonder if back when like Sirius's mother occupied the house, if like dinner wasn't at least somewhat similar to how it is at Hogwarts, where like Creature would be in the kitchen and like send it up.
Yeah. Well, because it seems like when they're having that would make sense too, because like when they're having the meeting, it seems like they're on the landing level floor because they think they can drop the extendable ears down to them.
Yes, I would agree with that.
Right. Yeah. But so it seems like that table must be equally large because there's like a bunch of people there.
True.
Right. Oh man, I think you're right. I think there is a similar food delivery system from down to upstairs. Taking place at the Black House.
I think it would fit. It's like I think it would even fit with like if you watch any period drama ever, they're like this kind of architecture is common.
It would not even surprise me if they had multiple house elves.
Oh, interesting.
Because there's a lineage, right?
Right.
Like where are they breeding?
Right.
You know what I mean?
That's true.
Right?
This is a very good question. Yeah. It's like, what, how does that work?
I don't know.
Do we even want to know?
I don't think we want to know. And you know what I really don't want to know is in Fantastic Beasts, Crimes of Grindelwald, there's a half elf.
There is that.
To which I'm like, questions.
It's
questions.
Anyway, yeah, let's move on. So Sirius chimes in and he's like, well, Harry asked the question, but what's the portrait of your mother doing here?
Figure it out, Harry.
And he's like, hasn't anyone told you this is my parents' house? I offered it to Dumbledore for headquarters. About the only useful thing I've been able to do.
I love Sirius's first question. Hasn't anyone told you? It's like Harry's like, no one has told me anything. Just like, it's so good to see you.
It's like I feel like answers are coming from you.
I like you. All
this
right, yeah.
This is good. We are off on the right foot.
Yeah.
And the other thing too is like Harry, who has been so frustrated. He even says though, Harry, who had expected a better welcome, noted how hard and bitter Sirius' voice sounded.
Yeah, I mean they've been in a very similar situation, realistically.
They really have. I mean, especially I think compared to like what Sirius is having to deal with, especially with Snape out there doing such a ridiculously dangerous job by comparison, and he's stuck inside of the house. And so it's like, not only is he not able to go and chomp at the bit, the thing that he wants to do anyhow, like that's Sirius's typical behavior.
Well, it sounds like he must have had a much more dangerous role the first time around as well.
True.
Because there's like the letter from Lily where it's like, we're so sad to hear you couldn't come to Harry's birthday party, but the order's got to come first or whatever. So it's like, whatever Sirius was doing was like I can't get away from it.
Right.
Because it's like pretty dangerous or whatever.
Oh, I know. I mean, and you can only imagine the hit it must have been on the original Order of the Phoenix that James, because I imagine James and Sirius probably were like tag teaming this stuff, and they were both super talented wizards. So
because they've thrice defied him at least.
True.
Yeah.
Very true. Yeah. And yeah, so all of a sudden now you're taking like one of your starters and like effectively being like, well, you have to go be in like safety mode.
Right.
It's like, James is probably, everything we see Sirius being like is probably exactly how James was feeling.
I mean, Lily says in that same letter that he's going stir crazy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I totally think you're very much correct about that. But yeah, then it says they went through the doors leading into the basement kitchen. So there you go, right there out in the open.
Right.
And it says it was scarcely less gloomy than the hall above, which I don't know. It's surprising that it's less gloomy since now you're in the basement. So
right. Yeah.
Yeah. I'd expect it to be more gloomy, if anything.
True.
Yeah.
Maybe there was just like less opportunity to like decorate this particular space, and so the end result is that it was less able to then deteriorate as well.
Perhaps.
Yeah. The decoration deterioration. Right.
Yeah.
Say that 10 times real fast. Okay. Then I like this though, because it says that many chairs have been crammed into the room for the meeting, and long wooden tables stood in the middle of the room, littered with rolls of parchment, goblets, empty wine bottles, and a heap of what appeared to be rags.
Well, I guess this is the room they were having the meeting in then, though.
Well, I guess you're right.
Man. So where were they putting these extendable ears?
I don't know.
Yeah,
that's a good question. We've already lost one theory on this episode so far. But the empty wine bottles I think is kind of remarkable because it doesn't seem like it's been a terribly long meeting. Like the meeting was about to start when Harry arrived. He went upstairs, had a brief shouting match with Ron and Hermione.
Yes,
and then came down, and now there are empty wine bottles everywhere
and a cloud of smoke. Even though it seems like only Mundungus is the one who smokes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes. And then we've also got like the heap of what appear to be rags line, which of course is Mundungus. This is the first of 2 times inside of this book where Mundungus will be misperceived.
Oh, yes.
Because he's also going to be at the Hog's Head.
Right.
In a similar state of like I think they describe him as like a warlock covered in bandages or something like that. Or,
yeah, something like that.
Yeah, or maybe a witch. Even.
A witch, yeah.
Yeah. And
he's undercover.
Right. So anyway, Mundungus's spectacular ability to just sort of like,
floomp into the environment.
I like that verb. Yeah. He's floomped.
He's floomped in there.
Yeah.
But then we have, correct me if I'm wrong here. It says Mrs. Weasley cleared her throat. Her husband, a thin, balding, red-haired man who wore horn-rimmed glasses. Isn't that the same kind of glasses Percy wears?
It is.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. So that's a commonality between the two for sure.
Right.
Then Mr. Weasley, very similar to Mrs. Weasley, is just immediately like steps forward with a nice hearty greeting, just in the way that I love the Weasleys in their relationship with Harry. Like, you know, Harry, good to see you.
Yes.
And, you know, Bill with his super cool ponytail is hastily rolling up links of parchment left on the table and just sort of kind of has like his classic coolness. Journey all right, Harry? You know, like,
journey all right.
It's like, you know, it's like, I'm right there with you. I've done some of those Mad Eye journeys before. He didn't make you come via Greenland then.
Yeah.
And Tonks is like, he tried.
What does that mean? Like we were going to take a port key, go to Greenland, then fly here, so we'd be coming from a different direction. You know,
yeah, I mean, I can only imagine
something like that.
The giant misdirect. How close is Greenland to the island of Great Britain?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
I don't know. Or maybe they just fly out to Greenland first and then swerve around and
as one does.
As one does. I don't know. Yeah. Because Tonks is like, yep, you may as well have. It was so cold out there.
Right.
Yeah.
Then we get more of Tonks's like we were asking in the last chapter whether or not the troll foot,
leg,
the troll
tripping
leg.
her.
Yeah, I can't help but feel like it's just Tonks being
It's just
clumsy.
Tonks, I know.
Because there's so many more instances that we just get over and over with Tonks just being like, you know, Tonks immediately sending a candle toppling over the last piece of parchment.
Even this though, it's like Tonks is a metamorph magus, which is this like super fun, cool ability that won't really come into play at all,
right?
More or less. And then even this, like Tonks' clumsiness, it's like, oh yeah, maybe this is like, you know, Chekhov's clumsiness or whatever, but like it's not.
It's not.
She just is. Just like I assigned some characteristics to this character, and that's it.
It makes you wonder whether or not there like wasn't more that Tonks was supposed to do, like in some capacity, because Tonks has a pretty big role. I mean, she gets married to Lupin. They have a son together. You know, like it's sort of like, you know, Teddy Lupin ends up being the sort of like embodiment of the life as an orphan child Harry should have maybe had.
Right. It's like Harry is the godfather to Teddy Lupin in like the way that like he kind of gets like fulfilled that like Sirius role, or like gets to play, you know, like he was raised by an uncle in a house as an orphan who hated him, and he gets like a second chance at that to like do it better. To
treat him the right way.
Even though I think Teddy mostly just lives with his grandparents and comes around the Potters 4 or 5 nights a week.
Exactly, yeah. Because as of the epilogue, I think that like Ginny and Harry are kind of having the conversation at the train station, as you do. It's like, we may as well just adopt him.
Yeah.
This is the moment to have that conversation.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Send our kids to school, you know. Anyway, let's see here. So then what do we have next?
Let's see. So it says here, so we get to see Bill, finish rolling up or Harry caught a glimpse of what looked like the plan of a building. I have to assume the building is the Ministry, and this is the Department of Mysteries.
I've got to assume you're right.
Right?
Yeah. I mean, I can't imagine. It doesn't seem like there's any other important enough building that the Order has reason to be paying attention to at this point that it could be anything else. Yep.
Yep. And then Mrs. Weasley snatches him up, and she's like, oh, we should really clear this up before people come down here, which like, yes, obviously. You guys are terrible at being Secret Service or secret organization so
it's
far.
So true. It's like the meeting's not over until everything's cleaned up, y'all. Like, easy peasy.
Especially because then Bill just pulls out his wand and is like, Evanesco, and they all just vanished. It's like, why were you rolling them up at all? Like the amount the wizards forget they can do magic is astounding to me.
It's true.
And also it says Evanesco. Where did they go?
Into non-being.
Hey, that's exactly what I wrote down, Jeff. Into non-being.
Where do vanished objects go?
Well, I hope Bill's around to get them back.
That's right. That's right. Wouldn't that be so weird if if there was almost something like wizard cloud storage, where it's like, you know, you save all your files to the cloud, and it's like we all just generally assume that the cloud is like safely maintaining those files for us.
Yeah.
But like, what if every individual has like their own Evanesco cloud, and if they die, then those things are just gone.
Those things are just gone. It's like, to me, a lot of times I assume stuff like this at Hogwarts, this is like the functional use, like of the utility room that is the room of requirement.
I think you're correct. And maybe a portion of what's happening, because like Ron sort of has that like declaration where he's like, he really thought he was the only one who found it. Like, you know, maybe there's a layer to that where it's just sort of like every time a chair broke that was like, for some reason, magically unrepairable, Flitwick would be like, Evanesco, and like it just that's where it goes.
That's where it goes.
Yeah. So it's like not everybody was finding it and being like, I've got a broken chair I need to heave into the pile of crap.
Right. Yeah. Because everything seems broken. It's like the endless storage room space of the castle or whatever.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
Like we can't actually, like it still somewhat follows the physics. It's like it can't totally be like eradicated or whatever.
Well, this is what they used to do before there was plumbing in the wizarding world. So like they would just like vanish their, wouldn't it have been so funny if they walked in and there was like, there's a distinct horrid smell.
You're right. You're right.
Yeah. Anyway, not the thing
like
anybody. People are like, guys, I'm turning it off today. I'm sorry. You've lost me with your house elf breeding conversation. You're vanished. Excrement.
Your complaints about the chapter art. My God.
My golly gosh.
Except no, they're like, you know what? I'm turning it up.
That's it.
Exactly.
Yeah, there we go.
There you go.
So Sirius now introduces Harry to the pile of rags, which is actually Mundungus Fletcher.
Who apparently wasn't even awake for the meeting. He's just like, oh, I grew serious.
Yes, exactly.
Which this right out of the gate, it's like a funny line that he's just, but the fact that Mundungus says this, like clearly not paying attention to the room, I feel like it makes Sirius then sound less reliable.
Do you mean because you kind of mumbled through that there? Like, do you mean like because Mundungus wakes up and he just sort of like haphazardly is like, I agree with Sirius.
Right. Like he thinks the meeting's still on. Like he's just like, what? Someone talking to me? Oh, I agree with Sirius. What whatever he said, me too.
Well, I don't know. Like this, it's really kind of a strange one because like in my mind, I'm sort of like, yeah, like they're, like Sirius is like a much more upstanding version, but like, he's still kind of got that like bad boy energy or something like that. But like at the same rate, like Sirius for all intents and purposes was like, it's not like he was like a crook the same way that like Mundungus is a crook. Like,
right.
Like they're not really cut from the same cloth. Like Sirius was wrongly accused, not given a trial and imprisoned for 12 years.
Right.
Like it's the only thing that really connects them is that like, Sirius has the street cred, I guess, if you want to call it that, of having spent this time in Azkaban. But like otherwise, I mean, he was a pretty just like upstanding individual who was, No,
I know, but I think like within the order, I would imagine Sirius is the one who's like bringing up a lot of like challenging like thoughts to the plans.
Okay.
Or like, how can we make it more like, or, I think we should be more aggressive or more dangerous or whatever.
Sure.
And like Mundungus is like taking his tack on things. Like
right.
Sirius, I imagine, is taking the more irresponsible tack on most plans.
I think we would probably safely assume that that's true.
Right.
Yeah.
And so the fact that then Mundungus is agreeing with him, but you already, as far as you, the like readers know, Mundungus is just the guy who abandoned Harry.
Right.
It's like he makes bad decisions, but he agrees with Sirius.
I see what you mean. I see what you mean. Look, is it lessening Sirius's credibility?
Right. Exactly.
I mean, I guess so. I literally wrote my note here was like, I just love that this is his default. That like he's just sort of like, I don't like most of you, but Sirius is okay.
Yeah, well, that too.
Yeah. That's almost like where Mundungus is definitely the odd one out, as far as this particular group of people is concerned.
Oh, for sure.
So I just tend to think that like Sirius is the one who is sort of like living life with like maybe like one foot on both sides of the ethical equation.
Yeah. God, you know what? We were just talking about this, but like Mundungus is the one who's going to be like dressed up and like overhears the initial meeting about the Dumbledore's army, right?
Correct.
Right. God, it's like, man, if only the Order had someone who got like top marks in concealment and disguise,
It's so true.
Right? Like, why wasn't that Tonks?
Why wasn't that Tonks? It's a superb question. Yeah. It just should have been. But who knows? It's like,
it just bothers me because Tonks is so cool and she doesn't get to use her fun power to do anything.
It's true. Justice for Tonks.
Justice for Tonks, man. Give her more to do.
That's what we're saying. Yeah. Everything that Mundungus does, Tonks could have done.
Exactly.
But maybe that's the real thing too, is that you needed like a punching bag character who could abandon Harry for such a stupid reason so that Harry could be like, because it almost presents an opportunity for the Order, who means well and is full of like upstanding and reliable characters. You needed one to fail him so Harry could be attacked.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, if Tonks was just protecting Harry, then she wouldn't have stepped away from her post.
Well, I mean, that's fine too. Like, it's okay for them to have this person there that's like, can like mess up and stuff. And, guarding Harry is like clearly a rotating job.
shift. Right.
Yeah, it's not always Mundungus. Maybe it was Tonks some of the time.
Right.
Yeah. I don't know.
I love this though, because Sirius chimes in. He says, "The meeting's over, Dung." And I'm just like, great nickname. Great name.
Dung.
You know what I want to be referred to as? Dung.
Yeah.
But multiple people do. And then he's just sort of like, Harry's arrived. And I feel like Mundungus is got such like a disconnected version of Harry. Like he's not nearly as awestruck. He doesn't have any of it. He's like, blimey, so he has. Yeah, you're all right, Harry.
Yeah.
like
no thanks to you. Yeah.
Right. But like, I wonder if Harry's going through a situation where it's like, Sirius seems to approve of this man.
Right.
So I was like, kind of have to like him by proxy.
And then he pulls out a grimy black pipe.
Right. Which billows smoke that smells like burning socks.
Great.
The acrid smell of burning socks. So I wrote that down as a little piece of trivia. What did Mundungus's pipe smell like?
Yes. Burning socks.
Burning socks.
There you go.
Pocket that one away.
He like sort of starts to apologize, says, "Oh, you apology," grunted a voice from the middle of the smelly thing. Like he says he does, but then later he's like, "But I did have a business deal, so like I get like technically I owe you one, but like at the same time, I think I was pretty justified."
It's like you kind of understand, right? Like
Right.
I had the opportunity to make like a handful of galleons, and like that's more important than like, you know, what do you do again? What is your whole thing?
Who are you?
The chosen one.
Something about a scar? Or
Right. Yes.
yeah.
Anyway, so let's see here. So now, Molly does seem to have a bit of control, or at least a measure of respect from Mundungus, I feel like, because she's like, she calls him out for smoking and he's like, "All right, sorry, Molly." And he puts it away. So at least, the very least, Molly can keep him like, you know, in check.
Yeah.
Molly has got to be just like exhausted with having to like correct everyone.
Everyone all the time.
She's like, this is so exhausting.
Yeah.
Like it's like being like a group full of children.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah.
I mean, that's basically her job, though, is to be like the house mom for the headquarters.
Yeah, to kind of look after.
Like decontaminate it, to cook the food, to keep everything like running. Like you need someone like that around. Like
The manager of the house.
Yes, basically. Yeah.
Yep, exactly. So anyway, but that being said, Tonks generously offers to help Molly, and Molly's sort of like, no, you just take a rest. And then
I think what she says is,
I circled it.
Yeah.
And Tonks is like, "No, I want to help," and stands up and knocks over a chair.
What I think is funny here is that like she's sort of like, "No, that's no thanks." But then in the next book, she's like, "Tonks, come round for dinner." Like, you know, this is not how you get a daughter-in-law, Molly.
That's exactly right.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. She seems a little exasperated. Is that the right word? With Tonks up until this moment, but then like once Bill's talking to Fleur, then she's
which she already is, though. You know,
That's
giving
true.
her those private lessons.
And those, wink, wink, audible,
Wink,
yeah.
wink.
Okay. Anyway, what's next?
Then we have so you just get the another forgetting to do magic thing. Soon a series of heaven asks for chopping meat and vegetables of their own accord, supervised by Mr. Weasley, while Mrs. Weasley stirred a cauldron, dangling over the fire, and others took plates, more goblets, and food from the pantry. It's like, sure, magic the knives, but not the place settings.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. So as all this kind of scene is unfolding, we have another one of these lines from Mundungus who says, "Seen old Figgy since?"
Yeah.
And this is kind of funny because when I was in high school, I worked as I did like oil changes at like a auto body shop type place. And I remember that there was this mechanic that worked there.
Oh.
And like every single day I would go and like chat to him. His name was Nate. And
Good name.
I know. And he would always tell me about his old lady. And he was like, "Oh yeah, I got to get dinner home to the old lady." And for the longest time, I just always assumed that the old lady was his mom.
Oh.
And eventually I brought this up with him because he said something and I was like, "Wait, what?"
Yeah.
And he was like, "That's my wife." And I was like, "Oh, I have."
Recontextualizing everything you ever told me.
Yes, exactly. It's like, okay, now things make way more sense all of a sudden. But yeah, so when it says old Figgy, I'm like, they were totally former.
Yeah, totally into it.
Yeah. So anyway, I'm continuing my shipment of Mundungus and Arabella Fig.
There you go. Yeah. Mundungus.
Yeah.
Then this is his terrible apology. "You see, I wouldn't have left, but I had a business opportunity." It's like,
Sure. Yeah.
great.
Totally.
That's cool and all. Dementors.
I love that we don't really see Harry react to Mundungus at all. Like, it's like he says these things and it's like Harry just doesn't respond to any of them.
Right.
Like, it's like you would think that he would be like, yeah, I got attacked by Dementors. It kind of sucked.
Yeah.
I have to go on trial now. All because of you.
Right.
And it's like, he just doesn't say anything.
I know.
So
you don't have anything nice to say,
That's it. Yell at your friends later.
Yell at your friends later. Exactly. They'll forgive you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But so the scene actually then just abruptly cuts because Harry felt something brush against his knees and started, but it was only Crookshanks, Hermione's bandy-legged ginger cat,
which has the same description as Mundungus, who was just mentioned.
Who was just mentioned, yes, as being, like, I think he's described as a bandy-legged Ginger man.
Yeah.
So, but Crookshanks wound himself once around Harry's legs, purring, and then jumped onto Sirius's lap and curled up. So we know that this is sort of like Sirius and Crookshanks used to be allies back in the day. They've
Total
got
besties.
they've got like a good affinity for one another. But obviously, Crookshanks also, the way that she is greeting Harry always just kind of reminds me of the theory that she is the Potter's former cat.
Absolutely, I agree with that. I wrote down the exact same thing.
Yep.
So I feel like Sirius then he does such a better job of dealing with Harry than Ron and Hermione did, where he's just like, had a good summer, but like he clearly knows it's been bad.
Right.
And
yes.
Harry's like, no, it's been lousy.
Yeah, and for the first time, something like a grin flitted across Sirius's face. This is such misery loves its company. It's not even funny because it's like Sirius is kind of happy that Harry's annoyed with the status quo.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know what you're complaining about myself. Yeah. Because he's sort of like, but he's also just like he does such a good job of making Harry feel better, I think,
Yes. It's like he's validating.
He's like, oh, what are you complaining about? Getting attacked by Dementors? Like, I don't know what you're complaining about. You got to fight Dementors,
Right. He's like, oh, it's kind of awesome.
Kind of awesome when you think about it.
Pretty cool. Yeah. It's like, so, I would welcome a Dementor attack. I'd like to get into a few fights. I've been stuck inside for a month.
I know. It's so funny that he says, personally, I'd have welcomed a Dementor attack. A deadly struggle for my soul would have been broken the monotony nicely. It's like, not exactly how you felt in book 3, though, is it?
Yeah, that was sort of like the literal entire plot.
Yes,
of that book
was avoid Dementors.
Sirius Black avoiding Dementor attacks, and then almost being attacked by a Dementor proper, in which he does nothing.
Yeah,
Harry has to save him.
Yeah, exactly. So I guess he didn't have a wand.
Well, either way, he could have. Yeah, he could have like shouted at them or something.
Yeah,
I don't know what he could have done. Yeah. Punched him square in the teeth.
I think he is shouting. He's like, no.
It's kind of a sad scene, isn't it?
It is. Yeah. Think about it.
Yeah.
So he's been stuck inside for a month, and somehow, in some way, he's even more bottled up than Harry has been, which they are able to immediately bond over. He says, there's not much I can do for the Order of the Phoenix. Or so Dumbledore feels. So even this, like Harry's not happy with Dumbledore and is like, yes, good. Someone else isn't happy with Dumbledore.
Honestly, there is something to be said for this. Like just getting it's like I just said, it's misery loves its company, but it's also just getting getting that shared feeling of like, yes, okay, I'm annoyed with them too.
Right. Because it does sort of feel like within the Order and Hogwarts and stuff, it's like, you're not really allowed to be annoyed with Dumbledore because he's like such a great wizard.
He's such a great wizard. And it's like all you can ever, like, it's not like Dumbledore's ever just like resting on his laurels either. It's like he's always out doing something. So you can never assume that he's not doing enough.
Right. And it feels like if you're in a relationship you don't want to be in and someone's like, you're allowed to break up with them and you're like, I hadn't really considered that.
That's very helpful.
It's like, you're allowed to be mad at them for that. And it's like, am I? I didn't think that was an option.
Well, now I feel better.
I guess I can be.
Right. Yeah. So I think we're definitely having that brand of exchange between Sirius and Harry here.
Yeah.
And so then Harry on the flip side is like, well, at least you know what's been going on. And Sirius is sort of like, oh yeah, listening to Snape's report, having to take all the snide hints that he's out there risking his life while I'm sat on my backside having a nice comfortable time. Asking me how the cleaning's going.
Yeah.
But this particular exchange, like it's all set up. Like a lot of what we have going on, because I have to imagine that there's a world where Sirius in dog form is innocuous enough to be able to go out and do something.
Right.
Like maybe not attack Death Eaters because he's right. Like Wormtail will have signified or whatever, identified that detail about him. But all of this is sort of like leading up to Sirius reaching his boil over point, which leads to him going to the Department of Mysteries, which he shouldn't have to do. Like that's what Dumbledore is going to say. Like there was no reason for Sirius to go. Like other people were there, but Snape's like goading and poking and like everything. It ultimately is the thing where Sirius is like, that's enough. I'm going.
Yeah. Yep. So the whole Snape Sirius problem at the house is just setting up the ending of the book where Sirius will die. I feel like I'm saying like, don't spoil the book, but like you guys know what happens.
Yeah.
Clearly.
Yeah.
So then we asked this question in the last episode: how long has no one lived there? It turns out it is 10 years.
I know we were slightly off. I think we said, what did we say? 14.
I think we said 14.
Yeah, because we were doing 15 years off Regulus. So it's at least then what we can correct from last week's episode is canonically, I guess that means that Mrs. Black lived for 5 years after the death of Regulus.
There you go.
Yeah.
Bam. And then I guess they both bit it.
Exactly.
Exactly. Sorry, that's a wicked joke.
Were you quoting Ariana Grande's depiction of Galinda?
I was, yeah.
Exactly.
which we have severely overemphasized in the Office.
Yes, we have. Yes.
Yes.
Anyway, then we get some of the early setup for Mundungus sort of like taking and selling things from number 12, which ultimately actually ends up being extremely plot relevant. Like at this point in time, you kind of just know that Mundungus is kind of like this wheeler and dealer or whatever. Like he's just gonna like lift stuff. And so it's like, is this solid silver? And Sirius is like, yes, finest 15th century goblin wrought silver embossed with the black family crest. And Mundungus is like, well, that would come off though.
Yeah.
To which I'm like,
subtle.
I'm like, would it? Like,
yeah.
What do you mean it would come off? Like, that's not how silver works.
I know. And they seem like, especially if they're goblin wrought,
Yes, exactly. Yes. It's like this is like magically infused like forging.
Only
like,
accepts that which makes it stronger.
Yes.
If it's, that's how the goblin wrought silver of the sword works.
Yes, exactly. Right. Yes. So, don't feed your basilisk with it, I guess.
Yeah.
But obviously the big long-term play here is that we know that Mundungus is taking things from the house and going to sell them. And eventually that will include the locket that I believe we see in the next chapter, which is Slytherin's locket, or AKA the Horcrux.
Yeah. And then we get the chapter art scene where it's Fred George, no, just carry them. Mrs. Weasley shrieked. Shrieked.
There you go. That's, because Fred and George have bewitched a large cauldron of stew, an iron flagon of butterbeer, and a heavy wooden breadboard complete with knife to hurtle through the air.
They don't forget they can do magic.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes. The stew skidded the length of the table and came to a halt just before the end, leaving a long black burn on the wooden surface. The flagon of butterbeer fell with a crash into oblivion, and we never saw it again, spilling its contents everywhere, and the bread knife slipped off the board and landed, turn the page, point down, quivering ominously exactly where Sirius's right hand would have been seconds before. And the note that I wrote in there was that our 9th grade English teacher, Mrs. Price, would say that this is foreshadowing his eventual death.
Oh, you think so?
It's me being frustrated with Mrs. Price, all these years, 20 full years later.
20 full years later. Yeah. Had that been the case, I would argue now, as an adult, that that's not true. Like if you lost a hand, it would be foreshadowing of that.
I completely agree with you.
As far as I'm concerned, even if he got hit with the knife, pretty fixable. Yeah,
because
magic.
Right, we can solve that problem.
Also, this hurtling into the table and it landed exactly where they wanted. I'm like, that's kind of impressive. Really,
not so bad.
Good job, Fred and George there. But Mrs. Weasley continues to shriek, which, as far as I'm concerned, is the reason everything went askew. For heaven's sake, there's no. I've had enough of it. Just because you're allowed to use magic now, you don't have to whip your wands out for every tiny little thing. This is extremely rich coming from Mrs. Weasley, who in the very next chapter will be using her wand to magic a plate of sandwiches up the stairs.
Wow.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, little rich, Molly.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I'm not having it for this situation. I don't think this is justified yelling.
Nope. Yep. I mean, literally, I think it's like at some point in time, Harry is going to refer to the way that Molly is behaving as he didn't like her Molly coddling. And I'm sort of like, it's so interesting that the descriptive word literally includes her name.
I know. It's like, is that intentional?
Right.
Yeah.
But I also think that the thing you have to keep in mind with Molly is going to be the woes of Mrs. Weasley, which is the chapter that's coming up here. And I think like we're drastically underestimating the amount of stress that she's feeling. Like Molly is almost like a static noise in the room that almost keeps bringing the stress level like back up again.
Yeah.
But it's because of what she's experiencing.
Right.
Like she is, deeply concerned for Harry, who like she probably uniquely knows is the subject of the prophecy because at the very least they're guarding it. Arthur's guarding it. So Molly probably knows just how severe Harry's position is inside of everything. Bill and Charlie are both members of the Order. Fred and George both just came of age, and Ron is Harry's best friend.
Right.
And Percy has abandoned the family. So it's like,
and Ginny was possessed by Voldemort 2 years ago.
right. So
3 years ago.
like what Molly is experiencing right now, like it does come across as this kind of like overbearing, but I do think it's all because like she is hyper fixated on the safety and the worry of her entire family. And we'll even see it further when we get a couple books ahead, when she starts the habit of carrying the Weasley family clock around with her everywhere she goes.
And
like,
I mean, it's said in the last chapter, she's already she's looking more strung out. She lost a bunch of weight.
right.
Yeah.
Yes. She's just deeply stressed. So
Yeah.
there's no doubt about it. I think Molly is just afraid. A raw nerve is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I think
but,
you're right.
But there's a reason for it.
Yeah. And then she goes down and says, none of your brothers cause this sort of trouble, which is just a nice segue into the whole Percy situation. Which I was like, yeah, none of them cause this sort of trouble. It's like, Percy just very recently caused much worse trouble than magicking cauldrons around.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep. Bill didn't feel the need to apparate every few feet. Charlie didn't charm everything he met. Percy, and I wrote in, is a get.
Is like, yeah.
Yeah, and it seems like just the very mention of his name causes both Molly and Arthur to sort of like freeze up a little bit.
Yeah.
And then Bill immediately chimes in and he's like, let's eat.
And then Lupin, the classic, he's so good at smoothing over a situation. It's like, it all looks wonderful, Molly.
Right. Yes, exactly. It's like, yeah, Lupin always knows how to like step in. It's like Lupin, I think probably because he's a werewolf, it's like he so values calmness.
Yeah.
So it's like he's always just sort of like, that's the thing about Lupin. It's like he is the gentlest person who has the affliction that makes him remarkably violent,
Which also won't come up again.
which also won't come up again.
Maybe that's what him and Tonks bonded over. They're like, what's weird? That we have these really cool things that are part of our characters, and they just don't, there was that one time, in book 3, but I'm not going to be a werewolf again on page ever again.
I know. We've said it before, but one of the amazing things would have been seeing Lupin and Fenrir werewolf off.
Yes.
At the Battle of Hogwarts.
It's the Battle of Hogwarts.
Right. Yes. Because the fight is happening through the night.
Yeah.
Right.
Why couldn't it be a full moon?
Why couldn't it be?
Yeah. Seems like it should be. We never even see Fenrir in werewolf form.
Never do.
Ever.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, whatever.
That's okay.
another victim of off-pageitis.
Off-pageitis.
Yep.
We all suffer from it sometimes, don't we?
Yeah.
Okay, let's see here. Then we start getting reference because Mrs. Weasley's speaking to Sirius, and she's like, I'm meaning to tell you there's something trapped in the writing desk in the drawing room. It keeps rattling and shaking. Of course, it could be a boggart. And it is a boggart, and this will show up later, and we're going to get reference to it at least a few times because we're waiting on Moody to show up to basically have a shifty at it, to take a look using his magical eye to figure out what it is.
Sirius, of course, on the other hand, is just it's almost it almost feels like a random fact being thrown at him. It's like, oh, also, Sirius, I've been meaning to tell you, one of the desks is rattling. It's like, great.
Lots of stuff is rattling.
Whatever. Sure.
There is no such thing as a quiet moment in this house.
Yeah.
There's things scurrying everywhere.
Yeah. Then she brings up the doxies, so just setting up the next chapter as well. And I thought we'd tackle them tomorrow. I was like, yeah, I look forward to it for sure.
Yep. Then we get a big little trivia exchange here, and I've been trying to write these things down in a way that helps me remember them for future things. Because if we were asked, what is the first way that Tonks modifies her face when demonstrating her metamorph magi abilities at the dinner table, I, of course, would say that it's the pig snout first.
Oh, okay.
And it's probably because that's the one they chose to do in the film. And so it's just easy to picture it.
I think they do the beak in the film too, though.
Do they do the beak first?
Oh,
maybe
I think
you're
it's
right.
a duck bill, kind of.
I think it is a duck bill. Now that you say that.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm just getting it wrong. Anyway, so the first thing she does is her nose swells to a beak-like protuberance, like Snape's.
Yep.
2, a button mushroom. 3, and then sprouted a great deal of hair from each nostril.
Man.
Would you count that as 3?
I would count that as 3.
Okay. And then 4 is when we start to get requests from Hermione and Ginny who request the pig snout.
Yes.
Yes.
There we go.
So then it's funny because Harry says, Harry looking up had the fleeting expression that a female Dudley was grinning at him from across the table. The main thing I think is funny here is that Hagrid literally tries to transfigure Dudley into a pig. And gives him like the pig's tail. Yeah. So it's funny that they have both been magically modified to resemble pigs.
Says they're not giving anything away. It said Bill. So he starts talking about the goblins, which you sort of have to like infer a little bit. Still can't work out whether they believe he's back or not. Of course, they might prefer not to take sides. Keep out of it. So this is Bill talking about the goblins of Gringotts and whether or not they might join the Wizard's cause to fight Voldemort.
Yes.
Yeah.
And exactly what he just said though is they might prefer not to take sides. That is what happens. Like we will hear. I think it's like when Ted and Dean and a pair of goblins are all chatting fireside after they Osseo salmon in Deathly Hallows.
Wizards forget they can do magic.
Because wizards forgot they can do magic. Yeah. And you're like, don't get me started on that. But I want to say that Ted asks one of the goblins, and he's like, we thought you were fighting with Voldemort. And he's like, we don't choose sides. This is a wizard's war.
Yeah.
And basically
that doesn't stop Voldemort from killing you.
That's true. But the goblins' frustration is that they're not permitted to carry wands. And this is where Lupin chimes in and basically is able to, like, he knows exactly what they want. He knows what will work. So it's like, this is where like Lupin is failing to convince people, but like he is understanding what the goblins want well enough to where he would have been a good negotiator, I think.
Yeah.
Because it says, I think it depends on what they're offered, said Lupin. And I'm not talking about gold. If they're offered freedoms, we've been denying them for centuries. They're going to be tempted. Have you still not had any luck with Ragnarok, Bill? And I think Lupin's dead on the money here.
He is.
Like, I think that like if they were just like, guys, if you are willing to help us in our battle against Voldemort, then we will permit you the right to carry wands. And let that be the exchange. It's like, I think that would pacify the relationship between the goblins.
Right.
Like, so it's odd that they just, I don't know.
Yeah, I know. Like they're really not into it. And the thing is, like Voldemort knows all these things too. And this is how he preys on all these different groups.
Exactly.
Like he is able to like, he promises the Giants greater range and freedom to just go, do stuff. And like, that's part of why they agree. And I'm sure he offers the goblins something similar. And the thing is, he has no intention of keeping these promises whatsoever. He just needs their allegiance to claim power first.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
Yes. And there is going to be a line where they're talking about, witches and wizards he bullied or bewitched into following him, his faithful Death Eaters, a great variety of dark creatures. You heard of him planning to recruit the Giants. There'll just be one group he's after. He's certainly not going to try to take on the Ministry with only a dozen Death Eaters. So you're right, though. Yeah, it's like he's well versed in basically learning what they want, promising them that, and then just never following through.
Delivering on it. Yeah,
exactly. Because he also hates them.
Right.
Like that's like Umbridge's thing. Like I think she refers to the centaurs as like half breeds.
Yes.
Or something. It's just sort of like, oh my gosh, like
right.
the layers of prejudice that can exist inside of the wizarding world are bonkers.
Yes.
Anyway, so where are we next?
Let's see. So then we also find out that the goblins never stop raging about the Bagman business, which it's just more a good setup for later when you meet Griphook and that whole situation at Gringotts, because you learn, one, that Bagman never did pay them, the goblins. Like he never got them. I guess we don't know what totally happened to him. But the point is that goblins hold grudges.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah, basically indefinitely.
They just don't forget. Yeah.
Which is even true of the sword. Like that's 1,000 years ago and everyone involved is dead, but the modern day goblins are still holding a grudge.
They're still holding a grudge, and it's because like it's like one of those things where it's like culturally things are just so different. Like the purchase of the sword didn't mean ownership of the sword. It meant like almost like a rental of the sword until the purchaser died, at which point the ownership would go back to the person who made it.
Right.
And like we live in like a society where if you buy something, it means it belongs to you. You own that object. But that's certainly not the way. That's not the culture of the goblins.
No, it is not. And let's see. And then we sort of cut back to Mundungus here, who is just telling a story.
It's a funny story, though.
It is.
He's basically describing, like, you're cutting in on a story where somebody's asking him, Dung, where'd you get all them toads from? Because son of a bludger's gone and nicked all mine. Nicked all your toads? Well, what next? So you'll be watching some more then. And if you'll believe me, lads, the gormless gargoyle buys back his own toads.
For twice what he paid for them in the first place.
So basically, he sold him toads, stole the toads, and then sold the same toads back to him for twice the price.
Exactly. So he profited 3 times off the same toads.
Exactly. Yeah. Which I just
Yeah.
think is a comical story.
It is a very funny story. However, I also think, now I don't know what Miss Price would say about this, Ben, but I would consider this a certain kind of verbal irony, if you ask me.
Ooh, lay it on me.
Listen here, because Mundungus sells stolen toads, but later on, a toad will steal from Mundungus.
Ooh.
Right.
Should look like a toad.
Look like a toad.
It's like one of those details where it's like, how much does Umbridge look like a toad, to the point where he's going to describe the person who took the locket from him as being a toad, and everybody in the room knows exactly who he's talking
They're
about.
like, oh, no, she didn't.
No, there she is.
Of course it's Umbridge.
Of course.
Of course it's Pete. Look at it. It's also about a frog.
It is about a frog. That is such an Our Family reference to Oh Brother Where Art Thou.
Oh, brother, where art thou? Yes.
where someone they believe gets turned into a toad.
Oh my gosh. Please tell me you guys have seen Oh Brother, Where Art Thou?
We thought you was a toad.
Of course it's Pete. Look at it.
Anyway, that makes no sense to anybody, probably. But the people
It's a
it
George
does.
Clooney movie.
It's true.
Yeah,
It's true.
yeah.
I feel like it won awards and stuff.
It absolutely is very good. Soggy Bottom Boys. Come on, guys.
Yeah.
You know, but, constant sorrow. Moving on. But let's see. This could be crazy trivia. This feels like an open book one. But Will nicked him off Wardy Harris in the first place, so I wasn't really doing nothing wrong. So yeah, who did Will nick toads from?
You're exactly right. This is so an open book question.
Yeah.
And for a toad, a purveyor of toads to be named Wardy Harris, I find to be just ridiculous.
Yeah, right. Like that one didn't reach far for that one.
No, not even at all.
Yeah. So Fred and George are just like loving this. They're drinking it up. Fred and George buried their faces in the goblets of butterbeer. George was hiccuping, which I'm like, I don't know if that sentence was necessary. Is George drunk? Is that what it's supposed to mean?
I don't know. I mean, sometimes I hiccup when I laugh too hard.
Okay,
So
maybe that's it.
maybe that's it. Because I feel like in the last book, we learned that butterbeer isn't very strong towards wizards.
Yeah.
So like,
and also, didn't they just crash the butterbeer?
yeah, the flagon. You're right.
The flagon's
It's a good
gone.
point. Yeah.
Where'd they get this from? I don't know.
Who knows?
Yeah.
Wherever vanished objects go.
Yeah. Molly doesn't approve of Mundungus, said Sirius in an undertone. Yeah. And then you get some like fun insight about how Dumbledore's running the order. It's like, he's useful, knows all the crooks. Well, he would, seeing as he's one himself. But he's also loyal to Dumbledore, who helped him out of a tight spot once. Something about a lawnmower, I think.
I was going to make the same joke. Oh my gosh. So that's a reference obviously back to how Arthur ended up getting the tickets to the Quidditch World Cup because he helps Ludo Bagman's brother, Otto, out of a lawnmower related incident once. And it's sort of like, okay, yeah.
Infinite loyalty.
Right. Yeah. Then tickets worth a house is the repayment for that particular piece of help there. But again, maybe this is like how wizards work, where it's like you have a certain kind of like, it's like when Harry shows mercy to Wormtail.
Right.
It's like the kind of thing that like almost like magically has
bonds
like
them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Like
yes.
when one wizard saves another wizard's life.
Right.
Magically bound.
Exactly.
Yeah. Let's see. So, but either way, Molly hasn't forgiven Mundungus for slipping off duty when he was supposed to be tailing you. Which, yeah, fair. I think that's fair for me.
Oh yeah. I literally wrote reasonable.
Yeah. Yeah. I wrote in the exact same spot. I wrote fair.
Fair. Yeah. Exactly.
But then Harry it says 3 helpings of rhubarb crumble. These must be, I assume this means 3 full pies worth of rhubarb crumble. Because at the end of it, Harry's jeans are feeling uncomfortably tight, which was saying something as the jeans had once been Dudley's.
It must have been a very...
like when he was like 5 or something, you think? Or?
Possibly. Yeah. I mean, Dudley is always described as just being like such a presence that like it does seem like this would be a surprising amount of rhubarb crumble.
Yeah, right.
Especially because if my understanding is correct, rhubarb is effectively like a different kind of like celery.
It's like red celery.
It's like red celery.
I think it tastes very different as far as I understand.
Right. I think rhubarb pie is famously a good tasting thing.
I think it is. Yeah. I think it is. But they bust that out on British Bake Off all the time, and you're like, what is that red celery they're cooking with?
I know. Yeah. It's a good point.
And then they bust out, they're like, this is my bubble gum extract, and you're like, don't put that in there. They never like the extracts.
That and rose. It's like it's just too powerful every time.
The rose extract, the almond extract. Don't do it.
Yeah.
Anyway, you guys don't care, or maybe you do because you're British and you watch Bake Off just as much as we do. Right. New season just started. Very exciting.
Y'all, we need to take a brief pause right there to give a huge thank you to today's sponsor, Mint Mobile. Y'all, whenever we discuss Mint, it is always in reference to just how clutch it comes in when we're out on tour, which is what we're doing right now. And we chose Mint for 3 key reasons. It's affordable, it works, and they love the word no. There are no contracts, no monthly bills, no overages, no hidden fees, no BS. That's basilisk saliva. Get your head out of the gutter, people, okay? Also, to be fair, that's probably closer to like 7 reasons why you may choose Mint. But like whatever, 7 is like the most magically powerful number. So, okay, geez. But for real, all plans come with high-speed data and unlimited talk and text delivered on the nation's largest 5G network. Plus, you can use your own phone with any Mint Mobile plan and bring your phone number along with all of your existing contacts. It's so easy. So are you too ready to say yes to saying no? Well, make the switch at mintmobile.com/TTGD. That's mintmobile.com/TTGD. Upfront payment of $45 required, equivalent to $15 a month. Limited time new customer offer for the 3 months only. Speeds may slow above 35 gigabytes on unlimited plan. Taxes and fees extra. See Mint Mobile for details.
Anyway.
Okay, then let's see here. Then Sirius sort of has like an interesting exchange with Harry. Was like, I'm surprised at you. I thought the first thing you do when you got here was start asking questions about Voldemort. And it's funny because like it's exactly what Harry did.
Exactly what he did.
Yeah, it's like, I asked Ron and Hermione, but they said we're not allowed in the order. So, and then Molly, this is where you kind of got like the big like blow up between sort of all the members involved who all kind of have mildly different perspectives as to what the appropriate way to handle the situation is.
Yes.
Because Mrs. Weasley is basically like, you're too young. You're not allowed to know anything.
Stay as far away from the danger as possible. I don't care.
Exactly. Yeah. And of course, it's really what's happening here is that Molly's just looking out for them because she doesn't want any of them to get hurt.
Right. That's what's happening.
And I think that she also just knows that if Molly knows the antics that these 3 get up to, and if they're permitted anything, they will take it a mile, which is exactly what happens.
Yeah.
They create their own army.
Yeah.
So
I love the line about Lupin doing this. Lupin, who'd been about to take a sip of wine, lowered his goblet slowly, looking wary. You can tell Lupin's just like, oh boy.
Yep.
Okay. Sirius has been cooped up. I know what's coming.
Yes, we're about to put salt on the old wound because
here we go.
The Sirius is going to want to push things around at least where he's able to.
Exactly.
And he's going to push it too far.
Yeah. Well, I mean, sort of.
Well, you're right, because they're going to end up having a conversation that essentially reveals nothing.
Yeah, exactly. This is anyway, we'll get to that.
Right.
Let's see. So Sirius he's gonna lawyer up here and actually talk in ways that like help bend the rules rather than just sort of like, I may as well have killed them. So he's like, since someone have to be in the order to ask questions, just asking questions. You can ask, you don't mean you have to answer. You can ask, what's the problem? What's the problem?
Right. Yeah. It's like you trust my judgment here. Trust my judgment.
Yeah.
If he asks a question I think is inappropriate for him to know, then I won't answer.
I won't answer it.
Let's face it. I think everything Harry asks is appropriate.
But I would tell him everything. What's the problem with that?
He wants to join.
He said he wanted to join. Look, we all know Harry's the subject of the prophecy. He doesn't know that, but that means he's important. He has to do it, so he has to know. So why not now? Why not now?
Right.
I can't do anything, but I can do this.
And the really remarkable thing here too is that, again, Molly has Harry's best interest at heart, which I love because I love the way that Molly sees him as a son just completely and totally. And you're going to have one of those moments here where you have he's not your son. It's like, he may as well be. But it really is interesting because in this situation, Sirius technically outranks Molly as his godfather.
Yes, you're right.
Like,
Yeah.
Like, I mean, at the very least, James and Lily asked someone to look after Harry if something were to happen to him, and it was Sirius.
It's a weird situation because, like, you're right. Like, in terms of that, yes, that's true. And yet, Molly has done far more looking out for Harry.
Also
like,
true.
in person,
yes,
than Sirius has.
And that I think is where like Harry of all people would never undersell the importance of what the Weasleys have done for him.
Right.
And so it's like Harry is not going to be like, Molly, like you are not my mom. like
yeah, he's not going to be that. Yeah.
No. He's just flattered.
He's just flattered, but it puts Harry in such a weird situation because like he really wants the information.
He does.
Yeah.
He does. Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And he's just so pent up too. You know, it's just like very like, everything's so tense going into it. But
yeah. And then, of course, then Fred and George are like, whoa, hey, whoa. Harry gets questions answered. We've been trying to listen in for a month, man.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep. And Sirius like, it's not my fault you haven't been told. That's your parents' decision.
Like, I'd tell you anything.
Right.
Come ask me. I don't care. Whatever.
Yeah. Then Miss Weasel's like, it's not down to you to decide what's good for Harry, said Mrs. Weasley. And it's like, it sort of is. Not that I disagree with Mrs. Weasley looking out for Harry again, but that's why I mean like sort of is his thing.
Yeah, it's not down to you to decide what's good for Harry. It's like that is very sweet, but it's like it's a little self-interested on her own part, a little.
True.
You know?
Yeah.
I mean, it's also about Harry, but it's also I think she like as you said earlier, she's just so stressed.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
You haven't forgot what Dumbledore said, I suppose. Which bit? Sirius asked politely, but with an air as though ready himself for a fight. The bit about not telling Harry more than he needs to know.
Boy, if I was Molly, I'd phrase that differently. Yeah. Because she leaves the door wide open.
Right.
Needs to know. Yeah. If I was Molly, I would have said the bit about not telling Harry anything.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Yes. I don't intend to tell him more than he needs to know, Molly, said Sirius. But as he was the one who saw Voldemort come back, again, there was a collective shudder, he has more right than most. He's not a member of the Order of the Phoenix. He's only 15. And he's dealt with as much as most in the Order and more than some. And I'm like, more than everyone.
Yeah.
Like,
I feel like during the meeting, Sirius was like, oh, yeah, Harry's pretty mad up there.
okay. Yeah, you guys hearing this?
You guys hearing this?
I'm literally seeing dust fall from the ceiling at the sounds of my godson yelling.
Exactly. I know you can all hear it too. So now that I'm repeating Harry's exact words back to you, I dare you to argue with me.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So then we get the chime in from Mrs. Weasley, who's like, he's not an adult either. He's not James, Sirius.
Oh,
like,
right for it.
Oh,
right for it.
Big yikes. I mean, I can only imagine that Lupin buried his face at that comment. Like, oh no. Oh no.
And then Sirius, he's ready. He's like, perfectly clear who he is. Thanks, Molly. And in very, very coldly here. And then this is, it's just such a, then Harry's reaction to it, I was like, I'm sure you also, Mrs. Weasley, sometimes the way you talk about him, and so you think you've got your best friend back. And Harry's like, what's wrong with that?
Yeah.
It's like, it's like to Harry, it's like the greatest compliment in the world that he's like his dad.
Exactly.
I know. And he's just like, that's so cool. And it's like, but it's like, yeah.
This is actually kind of an interesting one as well, because I have always, like, we made a video once upon a time talking about things that the movies did better than the books, which is, like, I mean, so often is the case whenever you're trying to depict a book into like film form, it's hard to get everything exactly right, or include everything. So a lot of times it's like, what are the 10 worst things they've like left out? But in this story, we will have the situation where Sirius will yell, "Nice one, James," in the movie.
Yeah, but not in the book. And some people have disagreed with our inclusion of that particular line, and it hails back to this exact conversation. This is where the line is in the book.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And basically, I think the point is you're supposed to sort of interpret it as like Sirius needs to see Harry as his own person and not James and like in that moment. But like I think when he says it in the film, I always just hear it as like such a high level of like respect. Like Harry's there as a 15-year-old dueling next to this like very powerful wizard, Sirius. fighting fully grown wizards, Death Eaters.
Yeah.
And he's just like, he's right in step with them. And it's like, to me, I'm always like, see, that shows that Harry's got this. Like,
Right.
he is in a league of his own.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely very clear in the movie where like Harry is the last DA member standing.
Right. Yes. Yes.
All the rest of them had to be rescued, but not Harry.
Not Harry, who's like in the middle fighting like the big cheese.
Yeah, the big cheese, Lucius, the big L.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then it starts getting personal. Well, it's already getting personal. It says, what's wrong with that? It's like, what's wrong is that you're not your father, how much you might look like him. You're still at school and adults responsible for you should not forget it. And then Sirius just like, oh, meaning I'm an irresponsible godfather. And it's like, well, that's a little complicated. Like, I mean, I wouldn't say you've been a super responsible godfather.
To some amount, not entirely his own fault.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess given, the false imprisonment and everything, but meaning you've been known to act rashly, Sirius, which is why Dumbledore keeps reminding you to stay home and yeah. And it's like, again, this is like, I'm like, Molly, this is probably not the right tact because it's just going to make him more mad.
Mm-hmm. It's like what she's doing is reinforcing Harry on like Sirius' side, because what Harry's hearing is that like, oh, Dumbledore isn't trusting Sirius. He's making him stay cooped up too. I'm with Sirius on this.
Exactly. Yeah. Then and it's funny too because then like Mrs. Weasley calls Arthur into the equation.
I know. This is the move no husband likes.
I know. Yeah.
Or no spouse.
No spouse likes.
Sorry.
Is to have to step in there. Yeah. So Mr. Weasley did not speak at once. Yeah. He took off his glasses and cleaned them slowly on his robes, not looking at his wife. Only when he had replaced them carefully on his nose did he say, Dumbledore knows the position has changed, Molly. He accepts that Harry will have to be filled in on a certain extent now that he's staying at headquarters.
Yes.
And so it's like Arthur could teach a class on how to walk the line.
I know. He's just like, I have to disagree with my wife in a public way when she's calling on me for support, but I have to think about the greater good, and let me take a minute to think about this one. Yeah.
Like I'm going to clean my glasses, which were completely spotless to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have Lupin chime in, of course, and he sort of again has like the
grand smooth over.
The grand smooth over, which is essentially the sentiment that like it's better to get the facts from us rather than like the other place he's going to try to source them from. So it's like instead of trying to like let him go out there on his own, which is what Harry normally does, kind of like scraping facts from what anybody is willing to like, shouldn't have told you that.
Yeah. Well, I think he's talking about Fred and George here.
With the extendable ears.
Yeah, with the extendable ears.
Yeah.
It says his expression was mild, but Harry felt sure that Lupin at least knew some extendable ears had survived Mrs. Weasley's purge.
Exactly.
It was like, better to hear it from us than what Fred and George have cobbled together.
Exactly. Yeah. And again, as we're about to find out, almost nothing that they're going to tell him is really all that groundbreaking anyway. But
then what's funny here is that Mrs. Weasley and Sirius are like totally at odds with what's happening, but they're actually pulling the same playbook here because it's like Sirius is basically being like, look, I can't get out of this house and I can't do much, but I am sure as heck going to tell Harry whatever I can. That amount of control I will exercise.
Right.
And now Mrs. Weasley is doing the exact same thing. She's like, well, I can see I'm being outvoted but Ginny, get out of here.
Yeah, right.
That much I can control.
It's like all of you have some reason why I can't get you out of the room, but Ginny, I will make leave.
I will make leave. I will control that.
Yes, exactly. So then of course, but before we get there, we get he's not your son, said Sirius quietly. He's as good as, said Mrs. Weasley fiercely. Who else has he got? He's got me.
Oh, yeah. Oh, it gives me chills.
I know. It's like the scene makes me tear up every time because they both love him. Like that's the thing.
That's the thing.
These are two people. It's like the squabbling over the cape. It's like we all here love Harry Potter. We just have mild disagreements from within. But we should remember that we all just love it together.
I just love Harry Potter. Exactly.
That's the unifying force that we have here. This is the thing. Molly and Sirius, position-wise, are on the exact same side.
Yeah.
They want what's best for Harry. They just have slightly different perspectives on what's best for him.
What that is. Yeah. And then, I got Molly. The thing is, it's been rather difficult for you to look after him while you've been locked up in Azkaban, hasn't it? And I'm like, oh, low blow, Molly. I think you've gone gone one too far.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's like the one where it's like you do understand that's a deeply traumatic situation that Sirius had to go through, and it wasn't his fault.
It wasn't his fault.
You know, like there's a lot of other
Trying to
layers.
catch the person who betrayed the Potters, and
Right, yeah, avenge their death. Which, I mean, I guess to be fair, he would have killed Peter had Peter not gotten the best of him in that
he
situation.
absolutely would have killed Peter. Yeah,
right. But well, anyway, it's hard to know exactly how everything would play out. But Peter is very central to a lot of the plot moving forward as well. Yeah. So anyway, Lupin again is maybe raising his voice a little bit more now, becoming a little bit more firm, but he's doing it at both parties. So, Molly, you're not the only person at this table who cares about Harry, said Lupin sharply. Sirius, sit down. And
I know. I was like, you made Lupin angry.
I know. It's like, uh-oh. This is also kind of interesting as well, because Lupin, I have to imagine, would have been in Lily and James's conversation to also be Godfather.
Oh, yeah.
And all I can imagine on that point is, again, there's probably an honorary aspect to it. James and Sirius were capital B best friends.
Yeah.
And then Lupin just has the underlying, look, if knowing Lupin and his selflessness, it wouldn't even surprise me if he's like, don't choose me. Like,
I can't do that to the boy.
It won't be good for him.
Right.
And it's like, classic Lupin.
Classic Lupin.
Anyway, so finally it's like, okay, you're allowed to ask questions. Let's go. I want to know what's been going on. Harry said it once. He did not look at Mrs. Weasley because he had been touched by what she had said about being as good as his son. But he was also impatient at her mollycoddling.
Yeah.
So there's the term. Sirius was right. He was not a child. And there's a thin line there as well because he is by definition.
Right.
But also he's been through a lot.
Yeah. So. Yeah. He's what I think Dumbledore says something in the last book like you've risen to the bravery of like a more than anyone could have expected to you. A grown man's challenge.
Yes.
Yeah, or whatever. And then this is where Mrs. Weasley is just like, fine, Ginny, Ron, Hermione, I want you out of this kitchen. And then of course they all have reasons why they should be there. It's like, well, if Harry's allowed, why can't I? Shouted Ron. And then Mrs. Weasley is like, I'm not having it. I forbid it. And then Mr. Weasley has to pull another glasses cleaning moment where he's like, Fred and George are old enough, and if this is like Harry's not getting things that being a member of the Order isn't anyway, then there's really no reason we can't make them leave,
Right. Yes. Exactly. Yeah. It's true. It's true. It's kind of like one of those just very like they were your children up until what are we in right now? August? Is it August? Yeah.
It's like 3 months or something.
Right. Yeah. So their birthday is April 1st. So it's been like 4 months.
Yeah.
So it's like these have been your children, and you have had the say over what they do up until 4 months ago.
Right.
And unfortunately, now you don't.
Right.
And we're not even at the borough where it's like you would have the reign as it's your house.
It's your house, living under my rules or whatever.
Right.
But I do love though that Mr. Weasley is like defending them in this moment. It's like, but they're legally adults now, said Mr. Weasley, because like really, it's like he is treating his sons with like some like respect and trust in this situation.
He definitely is. And I think that probably if you're Molly and Arthur, it's like you guys have grown and made the decision to put your own, lives in some amount of danger by being involved with the Order of the Phoenix. You are joining the direct opposition to the powerful force, which is Voldemort. And it's like on some level, there must be some amount of pride that Arthur has that his own sons want in. That they would also follow the same path that their parents did, which is fighting the good fight essentially.
Right. But you can like see the obvious divide between like Molly's yelling at them for like levitating pots and pans, and Arthur's like, we have to trust them as adults now. Like she's still like determined to treat them as her children, and he's like, we have to transition into them being adults.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Which I'm sure is a very complicated experience.
I'm sure it is.
Parents.
I know. I'm talking about this like I'm going to be any good at it.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. At least we have a little stretch left to go.
Yeah, a little stretch.
I've got a solid 15 years on my side here.
Yeah. Let's see. And then I love this moment where Ron says, Harry will tell me and Hermione everything you say anyway, said Ron hotly. Well, won't you? And he like uncertainly meets Harry's eyes, and like Harry, this is the real Harry. This is true Harry core right here, where he thinks about it. He's like, maybe like he knows he could keep them in the dark, but that vanishes right away. And he says, of course I will. And it's just like, yes, I love that Ron and Hermione are just like, Like,
He's back.
He's back. Yes, of course he will. They're just like, and I just love that Harry is like, no, of course I'm telling them. Yes. But silly to even consider that I wouldn't.
Exactly.
You know?
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah. The trio is going to trio.
The trio's going to trio. Ron or Harry is always going to put like friendship above anything.
Right.
Yeah.
Which I mean, it's funny too. Yeah. Cause we have a video that is coming out soon about James and Lily being secret keepers.
Yes.
And a huge portion of like the underlying sentiment behind not being secret keepers themselves is that a huge thing about the opposition to Voldemort is love and friendship. And these are the things that like Voldemort doesn't understand. And so it's like, you might think like, well, the security risk is higher by choosing somebody other than each other to do it. But that's also the point. Like,
right.
That's the point of all of this. Like friendship and trust and love and you know.
Right. Like if you can't put your trust in others, then what are you fighting for?
Otherwise, we're just independently solitary creatures.
Right.
Like, you know, all living our own lives. And,
right.
and what way of life is that? So anyway, so Ginny, though, is the one person in the conversation who has no ground left to stand on, and unfortunately is forced out of the room and does not go quietly.
Yeah. So opposite from old Ginny, who was quiet all the time.
I know. I was curious whether or not like this piece of kind of having like a fiery version, because Ginny is going to really start pulling a lot of her characteristics from Fred and George. She's, you know, obviously hyper talented in her own right, but she's got like a great sense of humor. She's talented. She plays Quidditch. Like, you know, she's cool, you know, by everyone's measure, like very popular. But I also do think that she's got a huge percent of Molly's fire in her
for
as well.
sure.
And I feel like we're really getting to see that proper for the first time, because otherwise Ginny's largely been kind of like quiet and more passive in nature. Yeah.
Yeah. You're seeing her wake up a little here.
That's right.
Yeah.
Okay. So we kick things off. Okay, Harry, what do you want to know?
What do you want to know?
Harry goes, "Where's Voldemort?" And I'm like, good first question.
Yeah. Right to it. Right to business.
Right. Yes. What is he doing? I've been trying to watch Muggle News. And so,
yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah. And he's just like, well, there haven't been any suspicious deaths yet, not as far as we know, and we know quite a lot. But it's like they say that, but you don't get to really know how much they know, unfortunately, as the reader.
True.
Yeah.
It's a good point. And so it's like, this is where I feel like this whole chapter it had to be a bear to write to make it seem as though this conversation is happening when almost nothing is happening. And a lot of what their ways of like dodging the questions, it comes across as if they're saying something, they're not saying something, and we never learn what the truth is behind the some things that they are saying.
Right.
For the most part.
Yeah.
So yes, we know quite a lot more than he thinks anyway, said Lupin. It's like, we don't ever find out what that is.
Exactly. Then we get he says, how come he stopped killing people? And he says, oh, he doesn't want to draw attention to himself. Not when, his comeback didn't go quite the way he wanted it to. This whole paragraph is huge theory fodder. Like, we rely on this paragraph a lot.
Yes.
That Voldemort's like, that didn't come back quietly. This is a huge part of the theory for like, why did the Portkey go twice? The cup.
Yeah. Like, why does it bring him back to Hogwarts? And I wrote the exact same thing down because this is so deeply important, because it says nobody apart from his Death Eaters was supposed to know that he'd come back, but you survived to bear witness. But like the thing is that like, if Harry doesn't survive that evening, then you have one of the most famous people in the wizarding world gone missing after winning the Triwizard Tournament.
Right.
And it's like, it's like Bertha Jorkins, like, I know is a precedent that would basically suggest that somebody could go missing and people don't do much about it.
Oh, but Harry Potter?
It's like, exactly. It's like, you don't want to treat any two missing people as more important than the other, but it's like the simple nature of it is that it would be a huge deal if Harry went missing. And then in this particular case, the other thing, it's not just Harry, it would be Cedric as well.
Yeah. Because
no matter what, Cedric dies.
Right.
And so that's like a giant red flag. So the rough idea that we've always had is that somebody was going to Polyjuice into Harry, return, and then kill Dumbledore as Harry, which would fit with the way that Moody has already been under Polyjuice, or Barty Crouch Jr. has been under Polyjuice as Moody for an entire year. So like, it fits the playbook almost perfectly, and it fits and explains why the Portkey would work 2 times.
Yeah, exactly. So there you go. That's and a lot of that relies on this paragraph right here.
Yeah.
And then, how is that help? Harry asked. Are you kidding? Dumbledore was the only one who they're scared of. Thanks to you, he was able to recall the order of the Phoenix an hour after Voldemort returned. And it says, yeah, well, so what have the order been doing? To which I said, not much, really.
Right. Yes.
It doesn't seem like it.
Well, and that's the thing, yeah, is that like we're gonna go through and try to get like the breakdown of what they've been up to, and I think over the next couple of pages we'll see more and more of it. But I was trying to like figure out like what they're saying, because it's also wordy, but so much of it is nothing.
So much of it is nothing, yeah. Like, I don't even think they're trying to conceal information or anything. They're just like I don't think they have much to say.
Exactly.
And it says, how do you know what his plans are? It's like, well, Dumbledore's got a shrewd idea. Dumbledore's shrewd ideas normally turn out to be accurate. And it's like, Harry's like, okay, and then what are the shrewd ideas? What's he planning? And he says, well, he wants to build up his army again, which we already sort of knew from the last book, like with the Dementors and the Giants.
Right. Well, and it's like you have two sides of a war. So it's like, of course he wants to build an army. Like, that would be like the obvious thing to, like, you're not at war if you don't have an army.
Right.
And so it's like, yeah, it's like you're telling him something that is easily surmisable.
Right.
And they do go on to say that in the old days he had huge numbers at his command, witches and wizards, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, he's certainly not going to try and take the Ministry of Magic with only a dozen Death Eaters. But then I went back to the battle at the Department of Mysteries, and they literally go into that battle with 12 Death Eaters.
There you go.
I mean, and I even wrote them down. We have Rodolphus, Rabastin, Bellatrix, Dolohov, McNair, Avery, Lucius, Mulciber, Jugson, Rookwood, Knott, and Crab. Yeah. So those are our 12.
There's your 12.
It's really just, I was like, that sentence is so ridiculously rich, because it's like, we will have a battle at the Ministry of Magic with 12 Death Eaters.
Right.
Exactly a dozen.
Exactly a dozen. Yeah. So there you go. And then even with that in mind, I think the order when they show up, they only show up like 6 of them, right? Sirius, Tonks, Lupin, Kingsley, Moody, and someone else is there as well. Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe not.
This is why I'm writing things down like this, because I'm so bad at thinking of things in this way.
Yeah.
Anyway, so let's see here. So you're trying to stop him from getting more followers. We're doing our best, said Lupin.
Which is not much.
Yeah. Well, the main thing is to convince as many people as possible that you know who has really returned, to put them on their guard, said Bill, but it's proving tricky. And it's like, and Harry's like, why? And it's like, because of the Ministry's attitude, said Tonks. You saw Cornelius Fudge after you know who came back. Harry, well, he hasn't shifted his position at all. He's absolutely refusing. It's happened. And Harry's like, why? He's like, why is he being stupid? And it's like, wow, that's such a good question.
I know.
I put a huge circle around it.
Yeah, that because otherwise this whole book doesn't happen. Yeah.
Exactly, yes.
Yeah, but also this is not new information yet. We haven't gotten any new information yet.
Right.
Yeah.
We know that Fudge doesn't believe Dumbledore because we witnessed all of that happen. And it literally goes back to the thing too where Rita Skeeter is on the windowsill listening in onto the whole conversation between Fudge and Dumbledore.
Yeah.
And it's actually mildly because of Hermione that she's not able to report any of the stuff that she heard.
I know. But then ultimately it's also because it's like if that had just been reported, so much of this would have been solved, maybe. But then at like the same rate, it's like it takes Hermione realizing that this would work, like Rita Skeeter could work to put it in the Quibbler. True.
Yeah. That's a very good point. Yep. And basically now we kind of get to the idea that Fudge is very intimidated by Dumbledore. It's specifically said that Fudge is frightened of him. And Harry is like, what do you mean he's frightened of him? And it's basically this idea that Fudge has become so like, in love with his position, his status, his power as Minister of Magic, that he's very concerned that like Dumbledore would be the obvious person to oust him from that position.
Right. So he thinks that's Dumbledore's entire play with like saying that Voldemort's back, that somehow that's how Dumbledore is going to claim power.
Exactly. Yes. Yeah. And it's like, this is where you also even get the idea that Fudge has historically gone to Dumbledore for help and advice. Like,
well, I mean, I think Hagrid even confirms that in book 1. Right, he says like Harry's like, there's a Ministry of Magic. He's like, oh yeah, Minister sends Dumbledore an owl almost every day or something.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I like this line though because it says, deep down, Fudge knows that Dumbledore is much cleverer than he is, a much more powerful wizard. And I was like, deep down, it's not even all that deep at all. Everybody knows that.
Everyone knows that. Yeah. Come on now.
Is anyone contesting whether or not Dumbledore is more powerful than Cornelius Fudge?
I know. Do we even ever see him do magic?
That's a good point. I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know.
Limited at best.
Right. Limited at best. Yeah.
Yeah.
He uses the flu network to show up to the other minister, you know?
Yeah. We do see that. That's a good point.
That. And I guess he repairs his teacup, I think.
Oh yeah. How about that?
Yeah. How about that?
Is there also like a gerbil or something that's like nibbling on the speech? Is that a thing that happens?
Maybe.
Yeah, he transfigures like a pen into a gerbil.
Yeah. So maybe he can do some magic.
Right.
He's one of those characters who you're like, his position is more powerful than his magical abilities, it seems like.
Right. That's a good point.
But he loves being Minister for Magic, and he's managed to convince himself that he's the clever one and Dumbledore simply stirring up trouble for the sake of it. How could he think that? How could he think Dumbledore would make it up? How can he think I'd make it all up? It's like... Exactly. I love how Harry inserts himself in here too. It's like, me, I'm unshakable.
Like, it speaks to the spirit of Harry too, where it's like Harry's not ever doing anything that isn't just like with the absolute intention of just like the good. So it's like he can't even fathom a world where somebody might be lying for attention, even though like what Draco did for all of Prisoner of Azkaban is lie about the buckbeak wound for attention. Mm-hmm. Like it's like your main rival at school plays this trick constantly.
Right.
Yeah.
This is like, and it's like such an annoying, hypocritical answer. It's like, because accepting that Voldemort's back would mean trouble like the Ministry has to cope with for nearly 14 years. And it's like, yes, but not accepting that he's back when he is will cause even more trouble.
I mean, this is just it's the classic case of just not wanting to know an unfortunate truth. Yeah. Like it's just like you just don't want to see the reality of the situation.
Right.
And so it's like, maybe if I just keep pretending it's not there, it'll just go away. And it's like, of course it's delusional is what it is. I mean, it's like, it's always going to end up being bad for you, but either way, that is who Fudge is. So so then anyway, we go through, and one of the big things is that like, they're calling Dumbledore rumor mongering. So most of the Wizarding world are completely unaware that anything has happened, and makes them easy targets for the Death Eaters if they're using the Imperius Curse. So basically, because they're all like the Ministry and the Daily Prophet, and like you could easily see how this might be the case. Like if you're just a standard citizen out there in the world, it would be like hearing like a conspiracy theory and like being like, yeah, but the news doesn't think so. So like, why should I like... You know,
right. Yeah. Like if that was true, wouldn't they be talking about it? Yeah.
That's exactly it. Yeah. Right. And so it's like sometimes it feels like the people of the Wizarding world have their head in the sand, but it's also kind of like, that's not really the case. Like I think that most average citizens would probably respond to the situation the same way that most of them are. Right. Which is just that it's like, if there was big breaking news, then it would be everywhere, and it's not everywhere. So it must not be happening.
Right.
Depending on how much you trust a figure like Dumbledore, that's an unusual situation, and how much he's able to communicate to the average person. But you're telling people, aren't you? Harry said, you're letting people know he's back. And they all smiled humorously. And then this is kind of like one of those things where it's like, they're saying they're doing a lot of work, but then you're going to go around the room and basically hear that Sirius can't do anything because there's a 10,000 galleon price on his head. He can hardly stroll up the street handing out leaflets. And then Lupin's
is that how you would do it, with leaflets? Because let me tell you what, problem number one is that's not going to work.
Leaflet campaigns, really not the most effective way.
Not that effective, especially when what you're trying to convince people is that like Voldemort's back. So
right. Yeah. So then the next person you have is Lupin saying, I'm not a very popular dinner guest. So it's like, it's an occupational hazard of being a werewolf. And then, so it's like, so Sirius isn't spreading the news. Lupin isn't spreading the news. And then says Tonks and Arthur would lose their job at the Ministry if they started shooting their mouths off, said Sirius. So they're not spreading the news.
Right. Probably the same for Kingsley.
Yes. And it's like, we've managed to convince a couple of people though, to which I'm like, that's a low success rate.
Yeah.
Tonks here. So one of the people in the room is one of the people we've been able to convince. Kingsley Shacklebolt is a real asset too. Yep. He's in charge of the hunt for Sirius. So he's been feeding the Ministry information that Sirius is in Tibet.
But like, it's like, that sounds good, but like, you just said in this chapter that it's like the most unfindable house maybe not in this chapter, maybe it's in the next chapter, but it's like he's already in the most unfindable house in London. Like you don't need to throw them off the scent of Sirius.
That's the thing. Yeah, it's like he's already in the most unfindable house and he's already not leaving.
Right.
You know, so
and
it's
you're
like,
the person in charge of arresting him. So it's like, just don't.
Exactly, just don't. And so it's like this again, it sounds like they're doing something, but really all they're doing, and that has nothing to do with Voldemort. That is, I mean, it's protecting a character that we, the audience, we, the reader, care about.
Right.
But it's actually functionally irrelevant. It's such an easy thing to do. Yeah. And so it says, but if none of you is putting the news out that Voldemort's back, Harry began, who said none of us are putting the news out? And I'm like, you did.
Yeah.
You literally just outlined how all the people in the room are incapable of putting the news out.
I know.
Like, why do you think Dumbledore's in such trouble? And so here's the thing. So it says like Dumbledore is the person who's trying to put the news out. And so it's like, why do you think Dumbledore's in such trouble? And Harry's like, what do you mean? It's like, well, they're trying to discredit him. It's like, he was voted out. Let's see here, as of the chairmanship of the International Confederation of Wizards, which I believe is the position of Supreme Mugwump. Is that what you would believe as well?
That's what it sounds like.
I looked this up and it's describing the chairmanship of the International Confederation of Wizards as if that is what this title means.
Okay.
But I'm not totally sure if that is accurate.
Okay.
But if that is the case, then that is like the elected position that happens like with the Chill and Walk and all the stuff in Secrets of Dumbledore.
It seems like the International Confederation of Wizards like loses a lot of power.
It must
between then and now.
Yes, hard agree.
Yeah.
He was voted out after basically announcing Voldemort's return. So effectively, what happened was Dumbledore went and spoke to a bunch of high-ranking officials, said Voldemort's back. They voted him out, and that's all part of like the discrediting campaign. So Dumbledore single-handedly is the one who's really trying to put the word out.
Right. Pretty much. Which also it's like I feel like if that's the case, like you do have plenty of other order members who could be doing this though. You know, like Mundungus could be telling even like the other crooks, like Hestia Jones and Elphius Doge, and like there's a bunch of people that were unaccounted for in this little explanation.
You're exactly correct. Yeah. It's like they must all be out there doing something, you know, like in Doge is a big enough deal that he's the one who writes Dumbledore's obituary.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
Something like that.
Yeah. Eulogy.
Yeah. Maybe it's the eulogy.
Is that the speed? Yeah, whatever.
Anyway, the thing they published in the paper that Harry can read, because that's like the whole like dog face
Doge.
Yeah, dog breath Doge.
Dog breath Doge.
There we go.
There it is.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. That whole situation. So if he's someone who's publishable, you know, that's like he should have some clout somewhere, maybe.
Right.
Hopefully. Anyway, so we're learning about how basically they're stripping him of all of his various titles and stuff like that. And then that's where you get the line from Bill who says, but Dumbledore says he doesn't care what they do as long as they don't take him off the chocolate frog cards.
Mm-hmm.
This one is, go ahead.
Yeah. Just huge theory fodder here as well, because this is the big line that suggests that Dumbledore uses the chocolate frog cards as his way of like either communicating with the order or like spying on the entire wizarding world.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's like, is he using it as like a method of intel of some kind? And if you go through and you get like the description of like Dumbledore like leaving his frame when Harry first opens the chocolate frog card, it's sort of like Dumbledore in his like picture on the chocolate frog card is behaving much more like a portrait versus how usual pictures work.
Right.
And there is kind of like an odd distinction there where like portraits are trained by their real life selves in terms of like how to behave, and they learn things about the person, and it's all part of like the illustration, the painting that goes into creating the portrait. Whereas a photograph in the wizarding world are just moving photos where maybe there's like an amount that
the photograph captured like the essence of the mood of you in that moment.
Precisely. So like, you know, the scene with Gilderoy Lockhart where he like pulls Harry in for a photo. It's like Harry doesn't want to be in the photo. So his photographic self can be like trying to leave the frame, but he can't really just like permanently leave.
Right.
You know, but like, because the picture is still a picture of Lockhart pulling Harry in for a photo.
Right.
Yeah.
But like Harry didn't like train that photo or anything.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. The other kind of weird thing about the chocolate frog cards is, as far as we know, based on everybody else who's listed, Dumbledore is the only living person to be depicted on a chocolate frog card. So,
Let's see. Then Voldemort's trying to recruit more Death Eaters. It's bound to get back that he's come back, said Harry desperately. And it's like, well, Voldemort doesn't march up to people's houses and bang on their front doors. He tricks, jinxes, blackmails them. He's well practiced at operating in secrecy. Gathering followers is only one of the things interested in. He's got other plans too, but he can't put that he can put into operation very quietly indeed, and he's concentrating on them at the moment. This is all it's like, because what they're talking about is getting the prophecy, basically, as far as I can tell, right?
Yes, and this is like a giant piece of like Mr. Act where like especially for how it pans out for the rest of the story, because like the prophecy is obviously of like utmost importance. It's a huge detail for the entire thing, but really what you have going on right now is two factions, both of whom are operating in secrecy, one of them trying to protect the prophecy, the other one trying to steal the prophecy. And so this is like the other big thing that the Order is claiming that they're doing is guarding what they're going to refer to as a weapon.
And it's such bad phrasing, because it's like, when you say it like a weapon, it's like a very tantalizing word to the reader.
Yes, because it's like you can only use your imagination to be like, well, what's worse than Avada Kedavra? What's worse than the Cruciatus Curse? The questions the characters themselves are going to ask.
Yeah.
And it's sort of like, wow, it must be really cool.
Yeah.
Like whatever it is, like a super high-powered laser that can do...
I know, like a wizard bomb or something. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, so it's going to be referred to as a weapon. They're all going to think it's a weapon. Like, you know, and really we, the reader, the characters are all going to bite on this buzzword, and it's not a weapon.
It's not a weapon.
It's intel. It's
intel and it's information. And like I think even the members of the Order, except for Dumbledore, don't really know much about the prophecy other than that it's about Harry. Like they don't know word for word what it says or anything.
Right. And so of course the really big piece of this here is that Snape overhears the prophecy from Trelawney, but fails to relay the mark him as his equal with powers the Dark Lord knows not. Like, so the vital bits essentially that never make it to Voldemort are the things that also make Harry so powerful. So maybe if Voldemort had heard the whole thing, he would be much more reluctant to attack somebody who fit the mold of this prophecy so well.
Right.
Because he's essentially creating his own best enemy.
Right. But like the other thing about this too, and it's like, it makes the prophecy feel like the prophecy is insanely important to the entire story.
Yes.
And it's like why the attack happened. It's like Harry has to be the one to fight. It's what makes Harry the chosen one, you know? Like it is really important, cool stuff that you learn from the prophecy. But the entire book, you're like looking forward to knowing what the weapon is.
Yes.
Like what is this fun, crazy object we're about to be introduced to? And it's nothing. It's not a weapon. You don't get that. No one even suggests a wand, you know? Like the Elder Wand. Like this could have been good setup for the Elder Wand.
It could have been great setup for the Elder Wand. It feels like better setup for the Elder Wand.
Yeah.
Because that really is what he spends most of Deathly Hallows working on, is looking for a weapon.
A weapon. Like literally a weapon.
An
like,
actual
I can't
weapon.
believe no one brings it up in this one. Because stuff is being set up for Deathly Hallows already.
Yeah.
Like things are being set up. I cannot believe no one guesses like it's like an extra powerful wand and we start getting like some wand lore here. Because like it's like, again, the prophecy is so cool and it's so integral to the entire story, but it isn't a weapon. And even if Voldemort got it, it doesn't change anything.
That I think is the really big piece.
Right.
It's like really what you learn is more about why what happened at Godric's Hollow happened the way that it did. Right? Like,
yeah.
You know, so it's like it's kind of like it's filling in aspects of the story that haven't made sense. And it does solve a rather big mystery, which is like why the spell backfired and how all this could have been foretold. You know, because the real reason the spell backfires is obviously Lily's sacrifice, but that was inevitable. Like, right?
Yeah.
You know, I mean,
yes.
and so yeah, it's like even if he had gotten the prophecy, it's like all he would know is just a little bit more. But he's even already bypassed Lily's protection, at least on some level, by taking Harry's blood into him, which, as we've said so many times, has its own bag of tricks. Like now Harry has the love crux. Now he can't be killed because his blood pulses in Voldemort's veins.
Right.
But the point is that like that would be it's just it can be a little frustrating.
This sentence really like sets certain expectations for the readers that pan out in just a completely different way than what you're like expecting. And like a lot of times that's good. Like you want to be surprised by the twist, but like what you're expecting is so far from what you could have ever guessed.
Exactly.
You know, it's like it doesn't feel like a satisfying payoff, even though what you got is incredibly important information.
Right. And I think that the disappointment with that is ultimately completely saved by the fact that you get the ridiculously epic duel between Dumbledore and Voldemort.
Yeah, so you do get that. That does happen. There is cool. It's just this sentence really, it's a whatever.
I guess I should be clear because I feel like we ranted about that for a little while. It doesn't make me disappointed with the book or the events or anything. I think that this sentence in a singularity doesn't have a payoff that I would hope for.
Yeah.
And that's all.
And it's a very important thing because what they're talking about is the point of the book.
Yes, exactly.
Yes.
So anyway, this is the point though where Mrs. Weasley has now re-entered the room. You could almost picture this where it's like she's quietly re-entered. She's standing in the corner with her arms folded, looking just absolutely furious, and she's just letting whatever happen. And this is the point where she's like, nope, that's enough. That's it. You're going to bed. And then Fred is sort of like, you can't boss us. And she's like, watch me. And that's where it's kind of like, okay, that's where like, you know, the mama bear energy comes out. And you're sort of like, yeah, Fred, you got to go. Like you might be adults, but at some point she's still your mom.
Yeah. No, she's like, you've given Harry plenty. Any more, you might as well just induct him into the order. And Harry's like, yep, I'm cool. I'll join. I want to join.
Yeah. But unfortunately, I think this is a situation where is it Lupin who joins in? Yeah. It's I want to join. No, it was not Mrs. Weasley who spoke this time, but Lupin. The order is comprised of only overage wizards, he said. Wizards who have left school. To which Harry's just thinking, fine, I'll create my own better army.
Exactly.
Actually, he's not thinking that. He has to be convinced to create his own army, but still.
Yes, but he does.
Right.
Is the thing. Says, there are dangers involved of which you have no idea. Any of you. I think Molly's right, Sirius. We've said enough. Which is basically nothing they didn't already know, except for the word weapon, which is complete misdirect.
Right. Yes, exactly. So anyway, we get to the end of the chapter. Everybody leaves. You know, the meeting is over. And these were my notes. So I was like, okay, what they told him. 1, there have been no deaths. Something he already knew because there haven't been any deaths reported. 2, Order of the Phoenix. Goal to recruit people. Results, 2 people. 3, Fudge is an idiot. We all already knew that. 4, there's a weapon. This is incorrect information.
Right. Yes. Yes. So here were my notes at the end of the chapter was, I remember feeling disappointed by this chapter the very first time I read it, and I'm still disappointed now. They aren't doing much. The weapon is a juicy hint, but it's not a weapon after all. The prophecy is massively important, but even if Voldemort got it, it makes no difference.
Right.
And it's just like, and it's for the chapter called The Order of the Phoenix.
I know.
It's just like they should be this like rogue group of super powerful, awesome, effective wizards. And it just seems like they're not getting a lot done.
It does feel that way.
You know?
Yeah.
It's just like, I remember being so excited about this chapter. It's the title of the book. And it's like, I was thinking like, maybe when I reread it now, I will catch something different, like doing it on the podcast. And I feel the exact same way I've always felt about this chapter.
Maybe so. And maybe like, you know, everybody talks about Order of the Phoenix and how Harry's depressed and kind of like in this like very teenage angsty mood the whole time. Maybe a piece of what's also happening is that you are feeling a degree of angst as the reader because it's sort of like, you didn't give me as much as I wanted out of that scene.
Yeah.
But that's okay. That's okay. So anyway, that brings us to the end of the chapter. Jay, do you have a review for us?
I sure do. It is from Hagrid's Exoneration, which I don't think it's about that.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, hey, brother, love the podcast, love the SCB YouTube channel, love all the deep dives and theories running around. Here's my question. Are the trace and the taboo essentially the same spell? Would the trace still work on a witch or wizard that was inside the protections of the Fidelius charm? What about the bond of blood? Or does the trace break all magical protection, wards, and disguises like the taboo on Valdi's name?
Oh man, I think that's a really good question because the taboo definitely seems like it is almost putting this like blanket protection out against Voldemort. So anybody who says his name, it's effectively alerting any Death Eater to somebody brave enough to say it,
Right.
which is most likely opposition.
Right.
And the best way to breed further fear of the name and in the end result, more fear of Voldemort is to make it so that people aren't saying it at all, because if you do, then somebody will show up and they will attack you.
Right.
So how this works is a great question. And like part of me thinks the only reason they're even capable of enacting it in the first place is because the Ministry has fallen. And like almost as if like whatever like listserv, that they can use for the trace is just being like rerouted to operate as the taboo.
So, okay. So you think, it's like, it is kind of similar.
It's kind of similar because literally it's the events of, it is at Bill and Fleur's wedding that Kingsley sends the links in that says Ministry has fallen. Scrimgeour's. Does he say Scrimgeour's dead?
Scrimgeour, yes. The Ministry has fallen. Scrimgeour's dead.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
So up until that point, I think that they have safely been saying Voldemort's name.
Yeah. And then after that, this is how they track them to Tottenham Court Road. Is because they say Voldemort's name.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. And then that's where like Ron chimes in and he's sort of like, don't say the name.
Right.
And Harry's kind of like, oh,
yeah.
Really? After all, it's like, we're out here fighting him.
I
It
know.
is us versus him. We can't keep calling him this metaphorical, scary, who name.
Spooky who name. Yeah. But it's like, that is a rare instance of like Ron's instincts being like really good.
Dead on the money. Yeah. Because he's exactly right. Like something
He's
is
like
telling
sensing
him.
it. Yeah.
Yeah. And so that would be my theory. My theory is that the Ministry is what is required. And we know that the Ministry is built around the Veil, which is like a magical creation of some kind, a magical Stonehenge. I have no idea.
Creation or just like I don't know. Is the Veil a creation or like a naturally occurring thing?
We don't know.
We don't know.
It's literally in the Department of Mysteries, right?
Yeah.
And so like all we can assume is that where and why they put the Ministry where it is that there's deep stores of magic there, which gives them unique power, to govern.
Yeah, to govern.
And
which makes you wonder, like, do other ministries have the same kind of power, or is the like British Ministry of Magic extra powerful?
It's a superb question.
Yeah.
And it could be like, one of the only other major regions of the world we've seen is France via the Fantastic Beasts series. And it does seem like it's a place where like the Lestranges rise to extraordinary power. France is also where the Malfoys would have come from way back when, in like the, medieval times or whatever. And so I don't know. Look, it's possible that like maybe if there's more like underground behavior coming from France versus from Britain, might mean that they don't have the same controls as the British Ministry. That's all pure speculation based on very limited and kind of unsatisfactory lore.
But then you also have like MACUSA in America, which is just like in the middle of New York City. So, which seems like a location of convenience, but then I guess the Ministry's in London, so hard to say.
It's a good point. Good point. Yeah. So what were the other questions? Would the
taboo, if you were in the Fidelius charm and the taboo was active, would the taboo break the charm?
To me, that doesn't feel like powerful enough magic.
I agree with you. I don't think it would break the charm.
Yeah.
I think the Fidelius charm is like way stronger than the taboo.
Right.
Yeah.
And so as such, I would also then assert, if I'm trying to use my same logic, that the underage trace would be like hidden from if you were within the confines of the Fidelius charm.
Okay, so like had Harry grown up in Lily and James in his house with his parents, he could have cast spells.
Correct.
Without, well, he could have anyway because they're adult wizards there. So there
would be no good way to determine. The trace is always very sloppy.
Trace is always very sloppy. That said, the Fidelius charm and then the Bond of Blood also must be a little bit different because they can detect the use of magic inside of the Bond of Blood.
Right. And so that's an interesting question as well, where it's like, as long as Harry calls number 4 Privet Drive home, Voldemort can't reach him there. But it's never, I don't know that it's ever explicitly said that he is hidden from view while he is there. But like, it might just be like an impenetrable force of magical awesomeness that means that like, it's like, maybe they could even see number 4 Privet Drive. They just can't get to it.
Right. So yeah, it's hard to know exactly what kind of protection is being offered. Like, does it have to be physically inside the house, or is it just sort of like while he's living there, he's not findable in the general area?
But I don't think anybody would really lose sleep over the idea that the Bond of Blood and Fidelius Charm are different spells.
Well, for sure, they're different spells.
Yeah.
They're definitely very different. But clearly the trace can be detected through the Bond of Blood.
Correct. Yes, we know that for a fact because we've seen it happen.
Yeah.
So that must be the case. But I think that if you're under the Fidelius Charm, any even magical force permeating it would suggest a lack of security that doesn't feel in keeping with it. Because otherwise, the Fidelius Charm can't even I think the Fidelius Charm would extend to like non-ministry sanctioned. Like, so you would be even hidden from the ministry as long as you were under the Fidelius Charm.
Oh, absolutely.
Like you could use it to hide from the ministry. So if you so desired. And if the trace worked within it, then that wouldn't be true. And then it would make the Fidelius Charm seem silly.
Yeah.
That's my thought.
No, the Fidelius Charm, yeah, definitely. The Bond of Blood seems like it's targeted specifically at Voldemort. The Fidelius Charm is...
It's important to also point out the Bond of Blood requires very, very specific circumstances. So if anybody's at home, like, why would anybody use Fidelius Charm and not Bond of Blood? It's because the Bond of Blood required, like,
someone has to be murdered.
Someone has to be murdered. It required, like, Lily's sacrifice and paired with Harry going to live with Petunia, who agreed to accept the conditions.
And then a third party who knows how to perform the spell at all.
Which is Dumbledore, who is, like, one of the very few people we know at all that's versed in ancient magic.
Yeah.
Other than maybe Voldemort.
Yeah. But so the Bond of Blood then also seems like it's supposed to protect you from Voldemort, but then, like, it seems like the Death Eaters also can't just like go attack the house either. Like,
it does seem that way.
Like, so like the fact that they are like at his command, the magic seems to like take that into account.
Right. Yes. Yeah. Right. Because like, I suppose on some level, like, you know, at the beginning of Order or Book 5 here, Harry thinks like burglars are in the house. Like theoretically, like a Muggle burglar could come in and just like, you know, attack Harry if that's what happened.
Right.
Like, but he's not an agent of Voldemort then, which is the difference.
Right. But then like at the beginning of the Battle of the Seven Potters, like all the Death Eaters are waiting in the air in the general area.
Correct.
Like it's not like they were just like, why don't we just get him now?
Right. But even the fact that they're in the general area, like they're in the airspace above Privet Drive.
Right.
Which, like, you know, which again, I think because I think that they leave and they just immediately go into battle, right? Like,
yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Right
like
away.
Right away.
Yeah. So,
should have gone on the Greenland route, you know?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Why even go up? Just fly low. Keep it low, y'all.
Yeah. Well, anyway, shout out to Hagrid's Exoneration.
Yeah.
That was today's questioner or reviewer. Thank you so much. As always, if you guys leave a review for us in any of the obvious spots, you will have a chance to have your review and potential question read here at the end of one of our episodes. And we do appreciate it. It's a great way for the show to kind of like get out there to more eyes and ears.
Yes, and then if you also want to have a greater chance of getting through, we have our Patreon where you can submit questions, and then we will answer those questions over on the Owlery.
Yes, indeed. And the other kind of fun thing about the Patreon as well that I don't know that we talk about very often is it's completely ad-free. We do upload an ad-free version of the show. So if you're ever like, oh my gosh, I'm about to pull my hair out with your ads, then there's a way around it.
Yes, you can just go to the Patreon.
Go to the Patreon. So patreon.com/throughthegryffindor.
Yes, we hope to see you there. And we also hope to see you next week right back here for Chapter 6, The Noble and Most Ancient House of Black, here on Through the Gryffindor.
Today's episode was edited by Ethan Edghill. Vaishon Brandon does our art. Catherine Stein is our production manager, and the show is hosted by me and Jonathan Carlin.